think I've ever felt so warm. All my roots sprouted into split ends. The smell of linen stains my arms. I think I finally understand it now. Oh, life's much too long to not fall in love, but much too short to keep waiting around. We run ourselves into the ground. Oh, I'm terrified to tell you. Ooh, but deep down I think you already know. If patience is a virtue, ooh, then you're the greatest person I've ever known. Ooh. Why can't I get it through that head of yours? I'm only gonna leave you broken. You'll remember me with tears in your eyes, a disease that leaves you smoking. I think I finally understand it now. Oh, I spent my life trying to fit the mold. Gave up my comfort for a final chance to grow. And I think I finally found my gold. Oh, I think I finally found my home. Oh, I'm terrified to tell you. Ooh, but deep down I think you already know. And I'm terrified to hurt you. Oh, but I'm different from the girl that I was before. Things never pan out the way I imagined, so I've been imagining the worst. Let's wait out my fears, palms connect as it passes. Your gentle pull shifted my course. Call me somewhere I've never gone. Can't imagine it, but that's what I want. Life's too short to waste it on being withdrawn. Life's too short to waste it at all.
Hello, Orbeez! Speeding at CSBC. Alright, I'm gonna switch to the main screen. Hello, Orbeez! I hope everyone is doing spectacularly today. I'm actually on time. What? Z on time? Hello, everybody. I hope you guys are having a great week. We have quite a few first-time chatters on the Twitch side, so I will quickly say hi. First off, let me say hi. So if you are here, please say here. I'm going to be doing attendance today. It is for a grade. Hello, Kat. Hello, Warpy. Hello, Tyler. Hello, Zilla. Hello, Cyrano. Hello, Stella. Hello, Lexa. Hello, Arky. Hello, Warpy. I may have already said hi. And then, hello, give me stuff, please. Okay. Hello, Caffey File. Welcome, first-time chatter. Hello, Komi. Hello, Joey, Jojo. Also first-time chatter. I saw this stream advertised on one of the Cuneiform subreddits. Yeah, no, that was me. I am the Reddit whisperer. I am the Reddit whisperer. That is me. So great to see everybody. Hello, Chef. Hello, Eggy. I hope you guys are having a spectacular week. If you guys didn't know, I was actually traveling this past week, and I literally just came back, and I was just informed that I actually have to be traveling again. It's all for good reasons. It's all for good reasons. I'm not traveling for bad reasons. I'm actually quite excited for these travels. It's just definitely a lot of packing and unpacking and laundry to do. I've been mildly sick the past 2 weeks. No, definitely stay healthy. I felt a little bit sick after I came back from my travels, but I have a warm glass of ginger tea next to me, and I'm praying that I don't get sick, since I tend to get sick quite easily. Wait, let me actually see if I can pull up some photos. So if you are a Red Supergiant member or higher, I sent out a Zmail with some exclusive photos of my travels. It's like my weekly subscription email thing where I send out little updates about where I've been, what I've been working on, a little bit more insight into my day-to-day life. But I wanted to show this. So I was actually visiting the beach. It was so sunny. Like, literally look at this. It was so sunny and it was so beautiful. And it was absolutely amazing. I guess, like, I didn't realize that it would be this sunny, and so I actually got a little bit suntanned. Pretty, yeah. Yeah, no, the beach was actually incredible. That being said, I should have definitely been more prepared for the sunny weather. I wanted to spend more time at the beach, but unfortunately my schedule was really packed that I actually only got to spend time for, like, I think maybe like half an hour at the beach. And I spent half of that time just, like, trying to be as zen as possible and, like, look out into the ocean and, like, fully enjoy the view. So if you remember, go check out the Zmail. I have a little bit more description on, you know, where I went and what I saw there. But it was a lot of fun. Let me just pull up this. Z, when isn't your schedule packed? That is actually a great question. Well, I feel like most of the time I'm not traveling, though. I think it's been a little bit more insane since I have been traveling. It's so funny because I came back and I, like, had to do my laundry and everything, right? And I realized that I'll have to pack again tomorrow. So after this stream, I'm just going to be, like, as zen as possible. I'm probably going to, like, snuggle up with a good book, do, like, a nice face pack, start planning what I need to pack again. And yeah, I definitely want to make sure I'm in good health. So, yep. So much zen in packing. No, that is my goal for tonight. Yeah, Z and Zen. Yeah, exactly. Actually, before I forget, I also have a quick announcement, and I want to get into the Cuneiform pretty quickly, so I'm gonna just quickly announce this real quick. Vtheorem next generation applications are open. So if you guys are new, let me boop. If you guys do not know, I'm actually part of a very casual group. It's called Vtheorem. We're a group of educational STEM VTubers, including Mylan, who does psychology. Content is my gen mate, and then Phi, who does cell biology, Nep, who does horticulture, and our emeritus member, Sidere, who does psychology as well. An absolutely amazing group, and we just opened up auditions. They'll go up till the end of this month. So if you are a science VTuber, or if you are making science communication content, please, 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 please apply. I think honestly, like, I'm sure all of you guys have heard all the amazing things that I've said about Vtheorem, but if you haven't, Vtheorem really has been, like, my home. Ever since I joined, like, I guess, like, about a year ago now, no? Something like that, maybe a year ago now? 2 years ago now? Maybe 2 years ago now. I don't remember. Oh my god, yeah, I feel old. I feel so old. But yeah, no, it's been an absolutely incredible community. And also, like, I'm sure a lot of you guys have found me through the different audiences of these channels as well. 2 billion years, yeah, exactly. I think, honestly, like, when I first started out VTubing, I was really uncertain about, like, whether there were other science VTubers out there. And I feel like my content and, I guess, like, the community that, like, I was able to, like, foster, like, definitely became a lot more, like, established and also, like, more well-connected after joining VTheorem. And I think, honestly, like, maybe even meeting some of you guys was thanks to VTheorem. So it is an absolutely incredible scientific community. And also, if you are not a science VTuber, please go check out VTheorem nonetheless. They are all absolutely amazing. New souls to devour niche content from. Yay. Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's been 1 year. Okay, I was gonna say, if it's been 2 years, then I feel like that would have been a long period of time. But yes, definitely please apply. So I'll have that in the corner for those of you who are interested. If you go into the X account in the pinned comment, then you'll see more information on that. But yeah, that being said, and I guess I'll reiterate this later on, probably no stream for the rest of this week. I might do one around this time next week, or maybe even Wednesday morning. I was originally planning a collab, but I think unfortunately we'll have to move it. That being said, another thing to put on your radar is that I will be taking some time off for the spring break, so that will be probably like late mid-March till like very early April. It's going to be like a short break. So yeah, that'll be great. Hello, Aleph Moo. Great seeing you. Oh my god, thank you so much for making the... So Aleph Moo made this amazing gif of me, like, with a gavel in Blender, like, hitting the gavel. It's absolutely beautiful. I appreciate that you continue to do entertaining science. Well, I appreciate that you continue to watch me do entertaining science. I really try my best. But yeah. I was actually thinking about hiatuses recently. I guess if you've made it, since you're here at the start of the stream, I'll probably say something about this. I was talking with Faye, actually, who is, like, you know, on hiatus right now, is an IRL doctor and is absolutely amazing, has been my role model in science VTubing. And I was, like, talking with her, and I was, like, coming to the realization that maybe after this summer, I might actually need to go on a very long hiatus. Something of the order of, like, several months. Very to be determined. But, yeah, I don't think we should worry about that just yet, because we have the entire, like, you know, we have, like, months ahead before we need to worry about that. But it did sort of get me thinking about my, like, schedule and, like, my plans later on. So, yeah, that's a little sad to think about, but, yeah, I didn't mean to bring this up and, like, make people sad, but something to put on your radar, I guess. But, yeah, if you have any ideas for my stream next week, please do let me know. I was thinking about maybe continuing, like, another Kerbal Space Program episode before I go on, like, a spring hiatus, like my very brief spring hiatus. So that might be fun as well. We'll see. I just popped in what's up. Just doing some brief announcements about VTheorem's new generation, about an upcoming hiatus, all that. But without much further ado, I want to actually get into Cuneiform. Wait, let me actually disable showing cursor. Yeah. Oh, so we just got to chapter 4. Oh. Uh-oh. What? Oh, what? What is going on? Sorry, technical difficulties. Let me figure this out real quick. Boop. Okay, I think I fixed it. Yes, there we go. All right, let's get started about learning about cuneiform. So, if you were here from the last stream, this has been my recent obsession. I've gone down a few Wikipedia rabbit holes and so forth. And yeah, wait, let me actually quickly adjust my model real quick. I don't know why my, like, mouth has been... Okay. Sorry, technical difficulties today. All right, we're back. I remember I learned to write my name in cuneiform in 7th or 8th grade. What? That's crazy. Not even like... They don't teach cursive in schools anymore. They just straight up teach cuneiform. That's crazy. All right, so let's read it. So this chapter is called How Do We Understand It Anyways? Wow, my mouth is being really warped. Sorry, let me fix that. All right, I think that might be better. Boop. All right. So when people encounter cuneiform writing on a clay tab... Oh my god, thank you, Monkmado, for following. We are very close to hitting 400 followers on Twitch, so if you haven't already, please go ahead and do that, because that would be a pretty crazy milestone to hit. Oh my god! Thank you, Joey Jojo, for following. When people encounter cuneiform writing on a clay tablet or stone sculpture for the first time, they are usually Why does that skeptical have a C in it? I don't think that's how it's supposed to be spelled. Skeptical? Is this like the British spelling? Oh my god, yeah, that is the British spelling. I've just like straight up never seen that. Irving Finkel is very British, yeah. Skeptical is UK English. Yeah, that does not... I was like, septical. That looks very odd. That such stuff can be real writing at all. If an earnest curator manages to persuade them, there are natural follow-up questions. How was it deciphered in the first place? And how do we know what the signs mean or what they sound like? This is exactly the same question about, like, how do we know how the dinosaurs sounded like? Like, we think that they were like, rah, and like, you know, like making those kinds of sounds, but like, we don't know. Thank you, Dromasaur, for following. I think, honestly, though, I heard that, like, for, like, Egypt studies, they've been taking a look at, like, sarcophaguses and modeling the windpipes to actually see how these, like, ancient pharaohs used to sound. Because they were, like, so well preserved. So, yeah. Astral spelling, yeah. Septical. Alright, so let's see. Eureka, the decipherment. Cuneiform was extinct for almost 2,000 years. It had to be deciphered from scratch, and the achievement was nothing short of heroic. When the first translations appeared in print... Oh, thank you, Tasty Toad, for following! Certain university professors of Arabic or classics were inclined to disparage barbaric-looking cuneiform and those who claimed to understand it, unwilling to come to terms with this upstart discipline. In 1857, the Royal Asiatic Society in London hosted a competition to settle the matter. 4 leading scholars, these folks, each submitted an independent translation of a long military account in Assyrian cuneiform. The level of similarity that resulted sufficed for the distinguished panel to declare that decipherment had truly been achieved. Wait, so they just like asked like 4 people to like translate this thing and they were like, oh, looks similar enough. Looks like we defeated cuneiform. I guess that was maybe what they were going for. Huh. Interesting. With that, the great work of reading tablets could continue uninhibitedly, and is still going on. The decipherment of cuneiform, like that of Egyptian hieroglyphs at the same time, would have remained impossible without a crib to a more familiar language. In both cases, transcription of personal names from one script to another provided the first glimpse of how ancient signs worked. With Babylonian, the trilingual cuneiform inscription in Old Persian, Babylonian, and Elamite of the Persian king Darius on a mountain pass at Bisitan. What? In Eastern Iran offer the same opportunity as did the Rosetta Stone for hieroglyphs. Hieroglyphs? Wait. So there was a trilingual cuneiform inscription, and that was like the Rosetta Stone of the time. Wait, with only 4 people. How many people would even be studying it well enough to try? I guess these 4 people must have been like the experts of the time. I mean, how many people do you know who know cuneiform? I mean, honestly, to me, it's just 2. The authors of this book, Irving, Finkel, and Jonathan Taylor. And I assume when the language was first, like, starting, like, the people who knew cuneiform were, you know, the experts who had the access to these relics. Yeah. An earlier breakthrough with Old Persian via Modern Persian meant that the name of Darius, pronounced Dariush, and repetitive expressions such as Great King and King of Kings could now be located within the corresponding panel of Babylonian cuneiform. Given the first symbols such as Da and Re, coupled with the justified suspicion that Babylonian might be a Semitic language like Hebrew and Arabic, put the decipherers on the right road. Wow, there's like a lot of linguistics involved to figure this out. That road, however, was to be long and full of obstacles. The decipherers had to realize that the system of writing in wedges was used for more than one language, Sumerian and Akkadian, and the sentences that they were struggling were with often written in a mixture of the two. Oh, because it was both Sumerian and Akkadian. And in a mixture of the two, that's even harder. It was a long time before everybody agreed that the mysterious Sumerian that was gradually emerging into view was a real language at all. It was strikingly different from Semitic Babylonian, and the recovery of its grammar and vocabulary has been a very arduous matter. Wow. Oh no, the book is blurred! I think this might be the trilingual thing that they were talking about, the Rosetta Stone. Oh my god, wait, see, this is why I want a physical copy of this book. So this is just the PDF that's available on the archive, but it's like very smeared, and some of these images aren't that crisp. I would love to get this book physically. I think it's actually on my throne, which is crazy. I know at least one Vtuber who does cuneiform. What? Who is this Vtuber? Well, I mean, unless you're referring to me, but I'm not very good at cuneiform. I'm just very interested in it. Daria Whoosh is a great username. Exactly. They cooked back in the BC era. Having the physical book would be really neat. Yeah, I know. I yearn for the physical book, please. I added it on my throne. But I'll get it eventually. I think, you know, if I have like a... Dang it. There's... Christmas just passed. What is like the next big present giving occasion? I guess my canonical VTuber birthday is in July. Do people give gifts for Easter? 4th of July? Do people give gifts for 4th of July? Birthday? Yeah, but my my Z birthday is like in July. If you can lie to the waiters about your birthday, you can lie to yourself about it. I have never lied to a waiter about my birthday. And sometimes they check IDs. I remember last year there was this thing where at Miniso you could get like a free like blind box, and so I did that, and they actually checked my ID for that. White Day is March 14th. Oh my god, that's like 10 days from now. Wait, that's Pi Day too. That's a special occasion. All right, Orbeez. Museum heist time. You know what? If you can't get the physical book, just get the physical cuneiform tablet. Pi Day! Wait, are you guys doing anything fun for Pi Day? I give gifts on Easter, but it's candy usually. Yeah, I guess so, yeah. I saw like a giant Easter bunny chocolate once, but I don't think you typically give like presents on Easter. Hello Sabine, thank you so much for joining, first time chatter. I'm debuting, which would be fun on Pi Day. Well, that's super exciting. If you haven't, let me actually go. Are you on Twitch as well? Well, I will shout you out on Twitch. All right, one day we will get this physical book and it will be absolutely amazing, and then we will be able to look at it, and maybe one day I'll do a live stream where I actually buy clay and then we can write the cuneiform wedges. That would be so great. All right, let's keep on reading. Words in cuneiform tend to be written in a continuous line without breaks, helpful neither for the decipherer nor the beginner student today. Gradually, what we now take for granted came to be appreciated. Any given cuneiform sign could have more than one sound value and more than one meaning, and a given sound could be expressed by more than one sign. The aspect of the nature of cuneiform signs was unsuspected until the pioneers discovered duplicates of one and the same text, in which identical words were spelled differently. One by one, new signs and new readings could be added to the list. The process of cuneiform decipherment was thus multi-layered, for it demanded full grasp of how signs with multiple possible readings could function as writing, and the reconstruction of two unrelated and very dead languages. The achievement was therefore far greater than the decipherment of Egyptian hieroglyphic writing or Mycenaean linear B. What is that? Mycenaean linear B? What is that? Let me pull this up real quick so you guys can... It's incredible how intact the tablet is. Yeah. No, that's incredible to me too. Just pulled up Wikipedia. Linear B is a syllabic strict that was used in writing in Mycenaean Greek, the earliest attested form of the Greek language. The script predates the Greek alphabet by several centuries, the earliest examples dating to around 1450 BC. It is adapted from the earlier Linear A. That is such a... I don't know what you guys think about this, but I feel like Linear A and Linear B is like such a sad name for a language. Like, if I had the opportunity to name a language, I would, you know, I would name it something cool. Yeah, it sounds like a math thing. That was why I had to Google it. I feel like I name it something like, I don't know, like the Z language or like Z or something. I don't know. Do they have examples of this? Roughly 200. Whoa! Whoa, what is this PDF looking one? Or it kind of looks like a, you know, like a gas, like tank. Whoa there, wait. Some of these characters are really cool. Oh, this one looks a little interesting. Pie. This one looks like the emoji. Wait, this just is like an arch. This is like a backwards S. Wait, this is so cool. This one looks like a spade. Wait, this one straight up looks like something... Oh, wait. This one straight up looks like something that's like a Chinese character. Where's the Among Us? I'm looking. Wait, this would be such a... Wait, this would be such a cool character to draw. This one up here. Wait, some of these do look kind of mathy. Like, I feel like this looks like something you do for, like, quantum physics. The ancient propane tank. Yeah. This looks like some sort of, like, Korean character here. Wait, what? And this was a character too? I mean, this is straight up like the symbol for Earth. Do you think the ancient Sumerians made stamps to press into tablets? Actually, yes. That was covered in the book. They actually made stamps, especially for more royal purposes. Unicode Among Us. Direct sum, yeah. No, this is really interesting. Wait, I wonder if they have a Wikipedia article on Linear A. Whoa! Wait, that just looks so... Oh, wait. Let me move the thing. What? Like, this just looks like scribbles. Oh, whoever cooked this language was being really creative. Like, what is this? This one just looks like 3 dots in a circle. Wait, this kind of looks like an upside down Among Us. Wait, this was like the precursor to the propane tank looking one. This one looks like a toothbrush. Wait, this one looks so fun to draw. Orbeez, I don't know if you ever did this, but when I was first learning algebra, like back in like, I don't know, like middle school, I would like, the teacher was like, you can use anything as a variable, right? And so I thought it would be so fun to like make my own variables. And so like I would make like weird characters, like something like these, and like use them as instead of like X and Y. And I don't know, I was like a crazy kid back then. And so I was like, oh, like what is the fastest symbol to draw? I feel like some of these were like similar to, you know, some of the stuff I drew. Wait, this one straight up looks like a house. Wait, this is so cool. I feel like if I wasn't doing astrophysics, I would totally be doing linguistics. Like, understanding, like, language is just such a fascinating concept. Because at the end of the day, it's like how you transfer information from one person to another, right? Tensor product symbol, yes. You're going to accidentally cast a spell if you do the wrong things, yeah. Part 3 of this series is going to be alchemy symbols. Wait, do they have a Wikipedia on alchemy symbols? Oh my god. Well, some of these are still used, like the symbol for like Jupiter, for instance. Oh, I guess I haven't really seen these. You know, I could totally do a hand cam stream. Wait, let me write this down. Hand cam stream for like cuneiform / like alchemy symbols. The Met Museum has a free PDF on writing hieroglyphs. Also, how do you pronounce that? Is it hieroglyphs or hieroglyphs? I can drop the link. Oh, yes, please do. I don't know if links are enabled. But if this is too much of a hassle, no worries. But I also have a Discord channel, and I can also pull it up on there. Or you can try putting it here, and I'll pull it up. Or I can also Google it, too. Met Museum Hieroglyph PDF. Oh, wait, there... Oh, wait, no, there we go. I guess links are allowed on Twitch. Let's see. Oh, it's a free PDF. Whoa! Wait! Okay, wait, let me scroll through this. Arm? Wait, this is so cool. Orbeez, next stream, hieroglyph stream. Wait, this is so cool. They also give you like a tutorial on like how to draw it. Wait, this owl one looks so hard to draw. Water, mouth. Wait, this is so cool. I've always wanted to learn like what these symbols mean. I promise to use this power for good, thank you. Xeroglyphics. No, this is great. Oh my god. You know, next stream we can try writing these out or something. I wanted to do a hand cam stream for a while now. Orbeez, I'm like no longer a physics VTuber now. You guys yearn for the linguistics content. To be fair, I do too. I'm planning on doing an abacus stream. Please, can I join? I've like totally forgotten how to use one of those. Yeah, it's the first time I've seen a PDF that explains how to draw it. Thank you so much, Joey Jojo, for sending that. That's really cool. All right, let's keep on reading this. Where were we? Oh yeah, it was about how the words in cuneiform are on one continuous line. So one by one, new signs and new readings could be added to the list. The process of cuneiform decipherment was thus multi-layered. Okay, yes, we're here. For a demanded full grasp of how signs with multiple possible readings could function as writing, and the reconstruction of two unrelated and very dead languages. Yeah, we just got to this part. This achievement was better than Linear B. Ha! Eat that, Linear B. Physics, but using hieroglyphs for all the variables? That would be so much fun. Imagine being like, ah yes, I have to integrate with respect to arm. Or, what else was there? I have to, you know, I have to take the derivative with respect to the horned viper. Or the stool of reed matting. No, this is great. Alright, let's keep going. In the footsteps of the scribes, amid all this struggle, help came from an unexpected quarter. The scribes who wrote cuneiform tablets for a living and themselves cope daily with its inherent difficulties bequeathed us a range of literally indispensable tools, a whole shelf of cuneiform reference books. Okay. Foremost among these are the list of signs and words. Lists of words by type or association appear right at the beginning of Mesopotamian writing. As specific signs were developed and agreed on, they had to be collected and listed so that they would not be forgotten or confused. Object words for stones, wood, or reed were carefully itemized in this way, as were the names of gods or the categories of human activities. For the same reason, the individual cuneiform signs were also listed, their distinct sounds written out one by one so that the full use of a given sign could be readily mastered. Each sign also had its own special name. By way of example, in the following line, the scholar explains this with regards to the sign for divine weapon. Alright, so this is actually still in good scanning shape. A perfect tablet from a master scribe giving signs, pronunciations, meaning this copy was made during the reign of Persian king Artaxerxes, illustrating the continued flourishing of cuneiform culture even after the fall of the last native Babylonian rulers. If all our documents looked like this, astrology would almost be easy. Wow, no, this is really well preserved. I know the PDF scanning doesn't give this justice, but I mean, this like doesn't even look broken at all. It just looks like a solid rectangular square. Cuneiform handwriting is even harder to decrypt than Z's normal handwriting. Wait, my handwriting isn't that bad. It looks like copper. Well, I think it's because the scanning was kind of bad. Wait, let me see if I can try to find the original. What was this called? 92693. Sorry, I'm trying to Google this and see if... Alright, there we go. I can't find it. Artaxerxes? 92693. Artaxerxes? I totally buy chocolate bars with cuneiform on it. That would be kind of fun. Okay, wait. I found it, but they don't have a... Oh, no, there we go, there we go. Okay, wait, hold up. Holy smokes, this is an amazing condition. Wait, hold up, let me... Can I use this image? Oh. Okay, it's Creative Commons, so I think it'll be fine. It's copyrighted by the trustees of the British Museum, but look at this. Like, that is so well preserved. Let me see if I can... Like, look at that. Isn't that incredible? Like, this looks like... This honestly looks cleaner than, like, my handwriting. I have to be so for real. This is an incredible shape. I will include, if you are watching the VOD, I will include the links to everything that we look at, in the description of the YouTube video. What do you think it says? Do they talk about it in the book? Oh, yeah, we just got here, yeah. I guess this is maybe one of the things that they found. Well, no, this one was giving signs, pronunciations, and meanings. So this is how we figured out how cuneiform, or at least Sumerian Akkadian, sounds like. So it has one ita, tukul dingir, tukul digiraku, kakusaili. We learned that the signs tukul, weapon, and dingir, god, put together mean divine weapon. Divine weapon in Sumerian is mita. The special name of the sign tukul dingir is tukul dinguraku, meaning dinger-sized tukul, or dingerized tukul. The Akkadian for divine weapon is kaku, weapon, sa-ili, a weapon of God. Okay. Such lists embody the very core of cuneiform knowledge, and students had to study them over the following 3,000 years. Over that period, the lists were naturally extended and developed. What was at first a list of Sumerian words would often be furnished with Akkadian translations, perhaps with the unspoken plan behind it all that every word and every sign would be covered in one or other of them. The great compilations were ultimately ordered into tidy series with numbers of lines and chapter headings so that the retrieval of information was as convenient as possible. So it was almost like they were making dictionaries back then. They were making dictionaries. No cracks or fragments. Yeah, exactly. And welcome, Reed85. Too cool for school. Yeah, exactly. Oh. Software update? No. Okay. I'm wondering why the script is written in blocks with those irregular spaces in between. I think maybe what I mean, these characters here on the side look very similar to each other. So maybe this was like the word and this was like the pronunciation. Oh, no, this is lined up exactly. There's 4 columns, right? So they have divine weapon in Sumerian. So they had Sumerian on the first column, the special name of the sign, and then the meaning, I guess, and then the Akkadian. So each of these 4 columns represented, it was kind of like a dictionary, like a translation type thing. Please do not bring your too cools to school. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. It might also be like Tukul or something like that. That's actually really interesting. The rather unusual two-language heritage of ancient Mesopotamia had many consequences. Sumerian and Akkadian lived side by side, and students had to study both. For a great portion of national literature remained encapsulated in Sumerian, even as this language began to disappear from daily usage by the early 2nd millennium BC. As a result, Sumerian texts often needed to be translated into Akkadian, first by glossing odd, difficult words, but eventually in fully developed bilingual form. The existence of such bilinguals facilitated the classroom teaching of both languages, and also generated sophisticated grammatical analysis by the teachers. Here, the individual elements which were combined to write long Sumerian verb forms were identified with their Akkadian equivalent, so that modern-looking grammatical paradigms resulted, such as ancient dictionaries, signs, lists, and bilingual texts. Thus provided the modern decipherers with a veritable toolbox, and as mastery of the signs increased and broken pieces of tablets and museums were put together, it became possible to make use of them directly in reading and understanding inscriptions, just as was done originally in antiquity. So, whoa, this one looks really narrow. It looks like there was like a crater or something that happened here. So this was a long, thin tablet of a bilingual literary text. What was originally a Sumerian cult song called Irshema has been supplied with a line-by-line Akkadian translation. Wow. So they basically were translating everything. Yeah, no, that thing we saw earlier, the tablet we saw earlier was literally structured as a dictionary. I thought only scribes and people of high status were literate at the time. Actually, this book was describing that was actually not the case. Well, there were a lot of students who were learning, you know, how to write in cuneiform. But also at the same time, there were some kings who didn't know how to write in cuneiform. And we know that because there was like a legend or like a story that was going around that a king like could not read the cuneiform in which like he was delivering his own death sentence. Yeah. This is interesting. So they have Angar, Akkadian is Sakin, it is placed. Oh, so they basically translate between Sumerian and Akkadian, and we know the meanings here. Repositories of knowledge. Identifying duplicate copies is still central to the work of the astrologist, for the majority of the tablets available to us today are broken or fragmentary, but among large collections such as that of the British Museum, there is always a chance of joining one piece to another, or finding a second copy to fill in a tantalizing gap. Much of the early cuneiform work in modern times was carried out on tablets from the Royal Library at Nineveh, once the pride and joy of the great king and scholar Ashurbanipal. The library, some 30,000 tablets and fragments, were excavated under permit by Sir Austin Henry Layard and Hormuz Rassam, and brought to London to the British Museum, where it became the cornerstone of modern astrology. The Nineveh Library was something extraordinary in the history of the world. The king had conceived the idea of bringing together and storing the whole of cuneiform knowledge under one roof, anticipating thereby the Library of Scrolls at Alexandria. And he took a personal interest in everything to do with his tablet collections. It's really fascinating to me that like the reason why we know so much about cuneiform and the reason why these tablets have been preserved is because of the passion and interest of these people who have, you know, have been really diligent in like making sure that these tablets could be preserved. Yeah, I guess the Library of Alexandria is really interesting too. I actually had a really interesting discussion with a group of people today about how the burning of the Library of Alexandria by Julius Caesar, how far that would have set us back. Because the Library of Alexandria was one of the largest, if not the largest library at the time. I think it held like around the order of like 100,000 scrolls, or like the order of like 100,000 books or something. Like it was absolutely insane. And so after its burning, like, that effectively did like set us back in terms of the information that we had. They took the original copies of the documents and scribed back copies, right? I think they did recreate some, but like some of them were definitely lost. The crunchier the PDF scan, the more it resembles a candy bar. Yeah, no, exactly. There was one earlier that was like circular and it literally looked like a cookie. I would totally eat a cuneiform cookie. Early cuneiform scholars had the great fortune to inherit a state-of-the-art cuneiform library written in the best possible handwriting. When Nineveh fell to Medes in 612 BC, Ashurbanipal's tablets were broken and burned. No! Ironically, this onslaught ensured their survival, for a library of clay is the only type where a fire is beneficial, baking the tablets hard rather than destroying them. Oh my god, that is so big brain. I did not know that. Joins between fragments, the triumph of an astrologist's day, are discovered regularly, and work on the precious riches left to us by the great librarian continues to this day. So far, 5 pieces of this library tablet have been identified and joined. The great jigsaw puzzle goes on and on. Oh, wow. It literally looks like a puzzle. This literally also looks like one of those graham cracker bars that you make s'mores with. Ashurbanipal is mentioned a lot in most Mediterranean folklore too. Literally wizard Merlin of those areas. Oh, I see. I didn't know that. Yeah, the decline of the library was over centuries. That is true. I remember that fire. That's also why we have Ian Nasir's complaints. His house burned down. Really? I didn't know that. I'm not saying it was a dissatisfied customer, but yeah. The Nineveh library contained to the fullest variety of writings, from high literature to mundane administration. We have myths and epics, hymns and prayers, magical and medical texts. Magical? State records, astrological. Bro, why was that preserved? No, I'm just joking. Astrological and astronomical texts, and any number of collections of omens, which were designed to help the court authorities predict what was going to happen. Also included are the royal editions of the indispensable sign lists and word lists. Modern sign lists and dictionaries are crucially dependent on Ashurbanipal's ancient lists, and no one can work without them. So let's see what this is. Oh, this is literally data. The double-spaced lines at the bottom are the king's ownership colophon. The empty spaces have been cancelled with round holes. Oh, it says detail from figure 6, sorry. The worst casualty from the hottest part of the fire. The clay has vitrified dramatically in the heat, bubbling and melting. Oh, whoa! Oh, whoa. Yeah, no, this literally looks like bubbling and melting. Wait, I want to see the original version of this. Okay, 5967. What caused the decline of Library of Alexandria? I was actually going to look that up. See if they have a photo of this. Come on. Come on, British Museum. Burnt cuneiform tablet. It's like a s'more. Oh wait, there we go. Yeah, it's kind of sad that like the PDF version, it doesn't look that crisp. Oh, wow. Oh, I don't think this is the same one. Yeah, I don't think this is the same one. The one I'm looking at is this one. Yeah, I guess I can't really find it, but anywho, yes. What caused the Library of Alexandria's decline? Actually, let's pull up the Wikipedia article. I was going to read this, but I opened it on my phone, which is like what I do to like save things that I want to take a closer look at. Yeah, there's like a whole section on the decline of Library of Alexandria on the Wikipedia page. Someone burned down his house, should have sold a better copper. Thank you, Dromaeosaur, for joining. Karis should be here watching this. Yeah, yeah. Actually, Karis and I have been trying to plan a collab. So Karis is a philosophy VTuber. Absolutely amazing. Hello, Andrew. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, I guess there was a lot of, like, instability. Ptolemaic rule in Egypt grew less stable. Oh, I guess some of it had been standardized and saved, and then it was burned. Yeah. Pretty interesting, though. Did someone not return a bunch of books? Well, I think the burning of the Library of Alexandria had other much greater consequences. Does my library card still work? The real question. Alright, we just got to the next chapter, chapter 5. Let me quickly respond to this message real quick. Sorry, I'm trying to say that I am currently occupied and cannot, unfortunately, drive. Apparently, I don't know if you guys heard, but there is a free IHOP today. So if you are, I don't know if this is only in the US, but wait, really? Yeah, wait, let me pull this up. Today's like National Pancake Day or something. Oh, wait, let me try to pull this up without... Okay, let me try to pull this up without doxing myself. Alright, let me just pull up the ad. Yeah, get a free short stack of our world-famous buttermilk pancakes. Go get some pancakes. No. I'm not a huge fan of IHOP, unfortunately. Actually, I've never had IHOP, but I've had Denny's. Timu Pie Day. Who wants breakfast for dinner? Yeah, no. Also, I don't know what time it is for you guys, but I'm in the Pacific time zone, and it's like 8 p.m. Yeah, the day's already ended, yeah. I feel like it's weird to have, like, breakfast for dinner. Alright. Denny's at 3 a.m. does slap. Actually, yeah. Visiting Denny's at an hour that is, like, very cursed is great. Maybe also IHOP. I don't know. I haven't been. Has anyone tried both? It's 12:23 p.m. I'm having ramen. Denny's versus IHOP. Let me start a poll. Oh, I don't know if I can start a poll on Twitch, but go if you want, you can join the YouTube live stream and check it out. Wow, Denny's is really in the lead. 62% Denny's, 38% IHOP. I've been to both. I feel like when I went to Denny's though, I didn't get their pancakes. I got like some sort of like skillet thing with like chicken and vegetables on it, and it was actually quite good. I remember that was also the I remember that was the first and only time I went to Denny's. It was after a really, really long hike. And so I was so sore and exhausted, and all I could think about at that moment was like having like a huge like meal of like chicken and vegetables. Have you had Denny's in Japan? No, I have not. I didn't even know that they have Denny's in Japan. Only ever been to IHOP. Are we supposed to vote if we haven't had both? Well, feel free to vote for whatever. Yeah, interesting. Well, 73% Denny's. That is actually really fascinating. Well, I guess then I'm not missing out on much then. I'm not missing out on too much. Yeah, I'm not typically a huge fan of like places where you eat at night, just because when I wake up the next morning, I start to feel really nauseous. I don't know if it has to do with like blood sugar or something like that. Maybe peaking your blood sugar late at night causes some problems, but I'm an IHOP kind of guy. I will die on this hill. Wait, Aleph, what do you get at IHOP then? Because I think I'm also not a huge fan of pancakes. McDonald's hotcakes would be my choice. I've never had those. I'm also not, like, I feel like I just can't do fast food. It really depends. IHOP burgers? Ew, what? Doesn't IHOP stand for, like, International House of Pancakes? Like, that just feels like they're tapping into, like, an already saturated market. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean... Yeah, I just can't. I also, when I know that some of you Orbeez have definitely heard of this before, but when I eat hamburgers, I don't eat the bread. I like eat the insides, or sometimes there's some places that have like lettuce wraps. I just get that instead because I just can't stomach hamburger bread. I'm like fine with most types of bread, but there's something about hamburger bread that like gives me like a really bad stomach ache. They sell burgers at IHOP? Well, according to Aleph Moo on Twitch, yes. It's diner food. Wait, hold up. This is crazy to me. Sorry, this is... If you're joining for Cuneiform content, welcome. We will get to that in just a moment. But in the meantime, we need to figure out... Oh my god. Ugh, why does it want to know my location? Please, do they have like a PDF menu or something? Oh my god. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to screen share this because it keeps like showing my location. Wait, IHOP restaurant menu, Niagara Falls? Wait, what? Oh my god, that scared me. Well, thank you, Crash, for following. Wait, this is crazy. Okay, so I wasn't able to actually pull up the IHOP menu. Oh my god. Woohoo! We hit 390! We're so close to 400! Thank you so much! Alright, so this is the Embassy Suites Niagara Falls IHOP restaurant menu. And some things actually look really great. International pancakes. Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity. Okay, this is just like their general stuff. But wait, this is where it gets crazy. They have crepes, French toast. Like this looks pretty normal. This looks a little bit cursed. And they have combos, obviously. They have omelets. Okay, that makes sense. Then they have sandwiches and wraps. So they do actually have hamburgers. Oh my god, they actually have a whole section for hamburgers. This is actually crazy. Mega Monster Cheeseburger. Oh my god. Oh, IHOP sauce? What is IHOP sauce? It's just like maple syrup? On both YouTube and Twitch. Well, thank you so much, Crashed. It's a diner. It's American diner. It should have burgers. No, I hate this. I hate American portion sizes. I hate the burgers. Wait, what? They have straight up like tilapia at Niagara Falls IHOP? What is going on? Bacon crusted chicken. What? T-bone? Oh my god. Imagine going to an IHOP and being like, ah, yes, I would love the T-bone dinner, please. Imagine having like a romantic like steak dinner date at IHOP. Well, maybe the Embassy Suites Niagara Falls is different. This menu is basically the same as Denny's. Yeah. See, this is like the kind of variety that I think I went for when I went to Denny's. Most manufactured bread, yeah, no, I think most manufactured bread is not very good. But I think there's something about like European bread that I can digest, and something about American bread that I just like cannot consume. Anywho. Hello 3 AM raid. Greetings. Thank you for putting the Cuneiform. We are on a slight tangent right now because today is like they're giving out free pancakes at IHOP, and so we were going through the menu and we came to the realization that the IHOP menu is actually more diverse than we expected. We're taking a quick break from reading the book, but we will go back to it very shortly. EU bread is just better. Yes, I agree with that. Ah, yes, the classic secret recipe sauce that we only call by our brand's name. Is it the amount of sugar? I don't know. I think it's just like, I don't like how thick the bread is. Like, it's very dry. But I'm fine with like sourdough. Who wants to go to IHOP with me? Well, depending on what time zone you're in, you may have a few hours left. Zien or baguette. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of bread in general. Asian bread is way better. I also agree with that. IHOP road trip. Yeah. Anywho, let us keep reading. We are now on chapter 5. We are actually like pretty far along the book. It is a very quick read actually. I'm PST, I can make it. Oh my god, yes, you have like 3 hours and a half left. You can do it. The scribe revealed. Let's keep on reading because I'm very curious to see what the scribes are like. I think we got a question in chat earlier that was like, wasn't it only like the really higher up people who could read this? If we could but meet one of those old Mesopotamian tablet writers, what does that say? A Tupsaru in person, how interesting the conversation would be. Despite the vast number of surviving tablets, it is hard to get a sense of the individual tablet writer. We would have 100 questions. A family affair. Scribal training exemplified discipline steeped in tradition, and apprentices must have been discouraged from using writing on clay tablets for experiments and invention because examples of such things are exceptionally rare. That's so interesting because I think we really take for granted, like, you know, having our own notebooks and, you know, being able to scribble things. I mean, I literally scribble things right in front of me right now. So yeah. As a general rule, scribes probably came from scribal families. We know a good deal about their day-to-day school curriculum at certain periods, and we can deduce that graduating scribes will have varied in ability, with the more talented or ambitious going into professions where writing was essential, such as divination or the priesthood, and others earning their keep writing letters and contracts. Oh, is that the end of the sentence? Oh, I guess so. Scribes operated with a blend of confidence and concentration, for no one wanted to have to start over with a clean copy. They developed various techniques to help them. For example, with long compositions, a small single oblique wedge could be added in the margin every 10 lines, and the line total often included at the end to ensure against omissions. There are other small glimpses of the scribe about his business, in particular the notes and miniature signs that such and such line had not been seen, or marks to indicate the spots where the tablet that he was copying from was damaged or illegible. To be a cuneiform teacher of distinction implied the mastery of prodigious quantities of texts. Very probably the sign lists and word lists were simply committed to memory by the most able, and any specialism would have had its own additional copious resources. The principal concern of the properly trained intellectual scribe was to preserve and transmit inherited lore, with the inbuilt writer that the older a document, the better. So I guess we can sort of extrapolate from some of the little markings that they did, that it was really important to get it done right. Sumerians discovered open source, it seems, yeah. I've never been to an IHOP. That might be interesting. Well, you may still have time for free pancakes. Specialist professions such as the arts of healing and predicting the future seems to have something in the guild structure about them, especially in view of the warnings in the colophon or library docket that the content is supposed to be safeguarded from the wrong eyes. One who is in the know should only show the tablet to one who is in the know. One who is not in the know must not see it. Wait, what? Wait, this is like a really like roundabout way of saying like, wait, just like keep this between us. That's crazy. Notwithstanding this stricture, astrologists are always very keen to see a tablet colophon, for they are always informative and sometimes extremely revealing. Standard information included is the number of lines and the name of a number within a composition series, such as He Who Saw Everything, the first line of the famous Gilgamesh story, which comes to us in 12 numbered tablets. Oh, interesting. So they were like numbered too, like pages. Cuneiform published or perished before it was cool. And the Akkadians invented academic journals, classified top secret. They gate-kept writing. I mean, if it was to the point that some kings didn't know how to write, that's pretty gate-kept. Here too, sometimes a secrecy injunction. In addition, there can be the name of the scribe, his father and ancestor, where and when the tablet was written, what it was copied from, when it was deposited, and a sequence of intimidating curses to make sure the tablet was never stolen. Curses! Oh my god, it was like, oh, like, shh, this should be a secret. Like, I will curse you if you share this secret. This is like blackmailing, like the first blackmail. The most famous library tags are those of Ashurbanipal himself, for it is there that we see him boast of his own attainments in cuneiform lore. I learnt the lore of the wise sage Adapa, the hidden secret, the whole of the scribal craft. I can discern celestial and terrestrial portents and deliberate in the assembly of the experts. I can solve convoluted reciprocals and calculations that do not come out evenly. I have read cunningly written texts in Sumerian, Dark Akkadian, the interpretation of which is difficult. I examined stone inscriptions from before the flood, which are sealed, stopped up, and mixed up. Bro. This dude was like the actually kid. Well, to be fair, Ashurbanipal was definitely cooking. So melodramatic. Yeah, this dude was definitely flexing. That being said, Ashurbanipal was definitely cooking before, so rightfully so. Just joined, what have I missed? Hello, Kingwin. Hello, Professor Fun as well. I can catch up on stream after my meeting. Well, thank you so much for joining. We were talking briefly about IHOP pancakes because they have free IHOP today. And that they have a variety of other foods. And then we were also reading about, you know, the lives of these different scribes, and sort of how they were, you know, annotating by the side and stuff like that, and top secret. Mental gymnastics. One interesting feature about 1st millennium BC colophons is a sprightly tendency among the scribes to employ learned or even cryptographic spellings. A recently decrypted example uses the sign UD to stand for no fewer than 8 other signs. How to interpret this behavior is uncertain, and maybe to Bro, I've never seen like the word bamboozle be like unironically written in like a book like this. It may be to bamboozle rivals or even to show off. Probably a mixture of the two. For a modern scholar, the pleasure of finally deciphering one of these enduring conundrums is considerable. Wait, this is so fun. Like, I feel like they were just... These scribes were just, like, having fun. They were just people, too. Cuneiform study at IHOP. Aleph, please do let me know if you decide to go to IHOP. In addition, there was a fancy idea in the 1st millennium that each cuneiform sign had its corresponding number, and whole sentences, especially in omens, could be written in such numbers, so that the reader had to supply the signs for each in his mind. This was already a mental stretch. The matter is confounded by the fact that there are at least 3 different number systems like this in circulation. Along with the straightforward methods of writing, the Akkadian word saru, meaning king, appears the use of a large cuneiform number that intriguingly can be written in 2 possible ways. Oh, I heard about this. So, in Mesopotamia was using base 60. But apparently, I heard that like base 12 is actually much better than base 10 because it has more divisors. Because you can divide 12 by like 2, 6, 4, 3, and then 1 and 12 obviously. And that's a lot more than what 10 has. UD looks like this. Oh, that's really interesting. Whoopsie daisies, Irving, Finkel. Base 60, yep. So they had these things. So each of these is 60, I guess. 3 times 60 times 2 times 10 equals 180. Oh, this, I thought it was minus. I was confused for a second. No, this is an equals that was blurred out because of this PDF scanning. 180 times 20 is equal to 3,600. Or you can write it like this. 3 times 10 times 2 times 60. Oh, it was times. It's not even plus. Times 2 times 60 is 3,600. In Sumerian, the number 3,600 is pronounced sar, and this is used as a pun to write the Akkadian word saru or king. So they had puns back then too. That is so cool. Oh, shar. It's pronounced shar. Thank you, Joey Jojo. Sharim is cognate with the Hebrew shar, which means military captain now, but meant prince in biblical times. Oh, that's really interesting. Thank you, Joey Jojo. It's great to see that there is a cuneiform expert in the chat. I mean, I feel like writing something like this could be easily done. Maybe even easily done on a pancake. A weakness for extracting more than one meaning out of a sequence of cuneiform signs probably characterized many professional scribes. The very complication that so troubled the apprentice that each sign had many possible uses opened up exciting possibilities to the accomplished scholar. It is this feature that generated the highest level cuneiform productions, what we call rather uninspiringly commentary texts, in which traditional works that have been obscure or uncertain in meaning are subjected to new and sometimes quite brilliant interpretation. The signs that make up a word can each have their own meaning to contribute, and other devices allow the deft commentator to bring in references from other compositions or quote from little-known writings from which he happened to be familiar. Here are a couple simple examples. Oh. Omen 1. If a snake encircles the door or bolt in a man's house and won't allow it to open, that house will prosper. Secondly, it will be abandoned. For a noble, it is a good sign. For a commoner, it is a bad sign. If the exorcist sees an ox horn on the way to a sick person, that sick person will die. The Akkadian word for horn or kwarnu is written with the Sumerian logogram SI. The same logogram can mean nuru, light, or sharuru, brilliance. So the omen really conveys his light will be dimmed. Oh, interesting. It's so fascinating to me that, like, you know, I guess prior to, like, reading this book, like, you know, you kind of see cuneiform as just, like, wedges, like, written on a tablet. But, like, beyond that, there was so much nuance and also some playfulness to the language as well. Only reason we do base 10 is because of the fingers. Yeah, I think that's true. Hello, Misadventures in Astro. Thank you so much for joining. I love your username. Alright, so the non-cuneiform signs stamped at the end of this clay cylinder record the names and titles of King Esarhaddon, and were only in use for a short period. They were probably developed in the royal chancery in imitation of hieroglyphic inscriptions encountered in Egypt on military campaigns. Whoa! Yeah, no, this doesn't even look like cuneiform. This looks straight up like something else. That's really cool. Tablets of this kind preserve for us a glimpse of what we might think of as a postgraduate teaching 2.5 years ago. With the multi-level insights of the umamu, or teacher, digested recorded by a student. Wow, they had like classes back then. It's so much fun. Michael Streck's 2022 Old Babylonian Grammar claims that the S with the little indent on it is the Welsh LL sound. So is it more like SH then? The Royal Assyrian overleaf? What? Overleaf? Oh, overleaf as in the next page. Oh my god, my research... okay, so for those of you who don't know, overleaf is the software that you use to like write LaTeX for research papers. So I was like, overleaf? The royal Assyrian scribes, whose handwriting has already been extolled, were calligraphers by any criterion, for the layout and details of their documents exemplify mastery of writing on clay, and in addition, a deep sense of the flow and interrelations of the graphic signs as they took their place on the line in sequence. Words could under no circumstances be divided over 2 lines, and a given text ideally filled front and back of its tablet completely without squashing the signs together or suddenly getting smaller. Text were conventionally right justified, and an especially uncrowded line could permit the scribe, if he wished, to indulge in an unconventional lengthening of a sign to avoid empty space. Whoa. This is a huge... Oh wow, this really takes up 2 pages. A good scribe took great pains when it came to mapping property layouts, so that in the future no one could squabble over its boundaries. Oh, I guess these are kind of the boundaries then. Wow. It's really fascinating to me, like, the diversity of cuneiform tablets. The tablets actually remind me of those gold records we sent out to space in Voyager. However advanced we become, our best way of preserving writings are writing them on stuff. I think also in a similar way, like, I wonder if an alien civilization were to encounter the golden records, they would be deciphering it in a very similar way that we are deciphering history. Actually, what's really fascinating to me was that, like, so I've been reading this book called The Information by James Gleick, and one of the things that I've been thinking about is, like, whenever new technology pops up, like, people become really concerned that, that it's going to affect our well-being in some way or another. Like, AI is a really great example, but, like, back in the olden days, like, when telephones came, people were so concerned that, like, with telephones, like, nobody would want to see each other face to face. And then when the television was invented, some people became so concerned that, like, seeing things on the TV would be so convincing that, like, people would be, like, immediately, like, convinced by, like, political propaganda, and, like, no one would have free thought anymore. And actually, when writing was, like, became more prominent, I think in, like, the Greek era or something like that, people, yeah, it was, like, the Greek era, people became concerned that, like, writing stuff down would, like, degrade your brain. And I think, like, oh, there was a great quote by this. Let me see if I can try to find this. Oh, yeah, Socrates, yeah. In ancient Greece, yes. Yeah, so Socrates calls into question the propriety and impropriety of writing. Throughout his discussion with a colleague, he insisted that writing destroys memory and weakens the mind. I don't know, I was just thinking about this. Were they wrong? I mean, in some ways, like, new technology brings a lot of concern, and in some ways it actually is dangerous. But it's very crazy to think about, like, you know, we think about, like, writing now, and we know that doesn't really cause harm. Maybe it does cause harm to our memories, but, like, it's become such an ingrained way of life and so normal and natural, and in some ways, like, writing has become a better form than, like, typing, for instance. And to see that technology develop and flourish, and then to also see parallels of, like, the fears and concerns that we have to new technologies today. Maybe he was right, yeah. Anywho, I was just thinking about that when looking at this tablet. Alright, let's see this. Mastery of reed stylus and prepared clay also involved other skills, although here the evidence is but slight. A handful of known tablets illustrate what in modern terms are line drawings. Delicate productions drawn with the point, confidence with curves and fluid to caricature boring teachers or depict demons or ghosts to be represented as clay figures. Wait, so, like, some person, like, drew a boring teacher? Wait, I need to see this. A great ranty. I don't know if this has been, like, blurred out. The scribe has drawn and labeled images of 5 sacred cult objects related to local deities in a temple in the city of Kish. Despite the tablet's incomplete state, the scribe's ability as a draftsman on clay is evident. Oh my god, yeah. Wow, yeah, no, there were definitely drawings here. That's so fascinating. So, it was more than just cuneiform. What is interesting here is that the facility... Wait, I need to see figure 12. What is figure 12? Figure 12 is much higher. Wait, let me jump to figure 12. Oh, yeah, this is like blurred out. Oh, I can't find it. See, this is why I need the original copy of this book. Yeah, I guess, what I was looking at was, yeah, it's so sad. Like, this is literally all that I can see. Like, there's no, like, caption information either. But I guess it was something like this. It's like this drawing here. I wish I could find it. I, like, tried to Google it, but unfortunately I couldn't see. Great rarity. I see, I see. Doodling in class. Yeah. I guess they did that back then, too. Alright, let's close that. Alright, let's see. I wonder if these tablets are expensive to buy. Yeah, just pull up the original tablet. Maps too reflect something of this skill, and here more examples survive. Indeed, map making can swerve between a skeletal outline of a plot of land to be sold, a map of the whole city, and a map of the whole world, including all the unknown bits around the edge where no man could ever go, boldly or otherwise. The art of writing in reverse must likewise not be estimated. Beyond cutting break stamps, it was also a special skill needed for preparing personal cylinder seals. Seals were cut from the expensive stone and were an important feature of a person's apparel. They could also be handed down the generations. Seals functioned as personal signature when legal procedures needed to be witnessed or ratified. They would be rolled across the face of a tablet and sometimes even right across the writing. Seal cutters, with their design books in the market, needed to provide individualized names, titles, and fathers' names for their customers. The template for these had to be drawn out in reverse, a confusing proposition for which a proper scribe on hand must have been essential. It's still fascinating to me the diversity of which they had to make these marks. When seals were not available, they would literally make the marks with the edge of their thumbnail. Many tablets have these nail marks, which were actually made with a tool. Here the witness adds his nail impression in place of his cylinder seal on the left edge of the tablet. And then on the right, we have the C impression on the top of a tablet. The priest Lipit Ishtar's seat relies on powerful images for protection. The signs carefully cut in reverse give his name, that of his father, Shamash Tapashu, and his profession. Wow, I mean, this is a really great drawing. They really cooked with this one. Ancient Sumerian brain rot must have been crazy. Actually, that actually reminds me, there is like a hieroglyph that looks like an Among Us. Hieroglyph Among Us. Oh, Medjed, yes. It was like a very minor god. Yeah, let me pull up the Wikipedia. I visited this channel called, I think I shouted them out last time too. Melissa Denial or something. Oh. Or Melissa of Denial, who does like Egypt content, and I asked about this. I mean, I don't know, this guy looks kind of silly. I'm like so fascinated by this minor deity, I guess. Yeah, there's also like another version where he kind of looks more like an egg. Wait, he was in Persona 5? That's crazy. I love Medjed, yeah. No, this is really fascinating. Yeah, he has like lasers or something. Shoots with his eyes yet is unseen. The sky is encircled with the fiery blast of his mouth. Yeah, not much is known about him. Anywho. Oh, wow, we just finished chapter 5. Wow, we're zooming through this. There's only 3 chapters left of the book. No, Medjed's great. Yeah, let me try to shout out. I think it was Melissa in denial. There we go, there we go. Yes. Really, really great channel. Whew. The Zia, I see my astrophysics streams. That's so funny. Alright, be sure to stay hydrated, y'all. I just took a big sip of water. Alright. What happened to cuneiform? There can be no doubt that to a contemporary eye, cuneiform looks a touch difficult. Although as previously remarked, it is perhaps easy to exaggerate the level of difficulty that learning it involved in antiquity. Nevertheless, it is intriguing that in the pre-alphabetic world of the 2nd millennium BC, where no script other than Egyptian hieroglyphics seems to have obtained a stable status, cuneiform writing spread far beyond the heartland, between the Euphrates and Tigris rivers. Already in the 3rd millennium BC, trained scribes from ancient Iraq made their way outwards to the outlying countries in the Near East, seeking their fortune exporting cuneiform practice and knowledge. As a result, we can observe the scribes who had worked in the Syrian kingdom of Ebla in about 2350 BC, who copied imported geographical lists from far away that included the names of small villages in southern Iraq that they could have never heard of, needed, or even understood. You know what this reminds me of? I heard that there was like an extinct language that's using like Korean to preserve it. Oh. No! I realized that my New York Times account does not transfer here. Yeah, it's for the Sia language. Let me see if I can try to pull up a article. Yeah. This is indigenous Indonesians use Korean letters to save a dialect. Like, you can literally see them writing Hangul. On Buton Island in eastern Indonesia, children in Baobao are using the Korean alphabet, or Hangul, to learn their indigenous language. The Sia language, spoken by about 80,000 people, didn't have its own written form. Being a syllable-based language, it presented challenges in adapting to the Latin alphabet, the predominant script used for Indonesia's official language. Hangul, the Korean alphabetic system, was introduced after a cultural exchange between Baobao and Korean scholars in 2009. Teachers and students were even sent to South Korea to learn the script. Abidin is one of the pioneers. He spent 6 months in South Korea for training and has even penned a dictionary for it. In Latin words, there's no guaranteed agreed way to pronounce the sounds fa or ta, but after I learned Korean, it turns out there are Korean characters for these sounds. Yeah, no, it's really interesting. So this like faded language has been passed down orally, but it never had writing, and so they kind of adopted the Korean Hangul system to preserve their language. Yeah, no, this is so cool. Yeah, no, it is very cool. No, it's like really fascinating to me, and like the reason why is because of the structure of their language, because they can't mimic the sounds, but I guess the consonants are similar to Korean. Have you heard the Euphrates River song? I have. It is great. It's great. Yeah. But that was what I was thinking when they were talking about like exporting the language. This export process increased over time. Oh, thank you. Oh my god. Okay, wait. I was gonna say thank you for subscribing, but I realized that's a super chat. Thank you so much, Matt. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. We're going to need some cuneiform dad jokes. What are some good cuneiform dad jokes? I need to think of like a fun cuneiform joke. Well, we did learn last stream that one of the oldest jokes is in cuneiform. or not cuneiform, it was like in Sumerian, where it was like a dog enters a bar. I'll let you know if I think of something fun. This export process increased over time. Oh, okay, so this is a Mesopotamian cuneiform and Egyptian hieratic side by side on one tablet. Cuneiform, and I guess this must have been the hieroglyphs here. Wow, that's really cool. Just to see these languages at the same spot. Many second millennium rulers and peripheral states felt the urge to add a cuneiform reader to their staff, to handle international correspondence and perhaps instill familiarity with practical writing that would be useful in many other ways. At the same time, forms of Akkadian written cuneiform became the lingua franca of the entire Near East, exemplified in the royal correspondence that circulated around the court at Egyptian Amarna in the 14th century BC, transmitting grievances from the outlying empire whose local kings expected more attentiveness in their overlords. Elsewhere, we can identify itinerant scribes who could export their professional knowledge and start a local school with little more than a bag of reference tablets. The consequence of all this toing and froing was that cuneiform, impressed into clay, never mind what writing alternatives might have taken root elsewhere, became the centrally placed default writing system of the whole Near Eastern world. I actually did not know it became that expanded. What's a cuneiform scribe's favorite dinner? Wedge salad. That's like the most dad joke ever. That is beautiful. W Jojo. Thank you so much, Jojo. A babbling of tongues. The venerable Mesopotamian cuneiform syllabary was thus adopted and adapted during the 2nd millennium BC to write languages for which it was never intended, including Hittite in Anatolia, Urartian in Armenia, Elamite in Iran, and Hurrian in Syria. It is interesting that despite its complexity, cuneiform script has sufficient flexibility to enable application to such completely unrelated languages. Wait, this is exactly like the Korean thing that I was talking about, with the Sia language adopting the Korean script. At 13th century Ugarit, the development of the streamlined alphabet was unable to detach itself from the concept that writing necessarily involved cuneiform wedges impressed into clay, even though the sign repertoire was vastly simpler and quite independent of the Mesopotamian parent. In the same way, the Old Persian alphabetic cuneiform later used by Byzantine by Darius that we have already mentioned developed out of wedges written on clay. Wait, let's take a look at what these figures are. Wow, okay. So, figure 35, Hittite scribes had to learn Sumerian and Akkadian as foreign languages. They wrote syllabically in cuneiform mixed with words in Sumerian and Akkadian. Some words contained Hurrian and Hattian, Hurrian and Hattic words. Whoa. So I guess this must be an example. Oh, okay. Each of these varieties derives from Mesopotamian cuneiform and has its own defining characteristics. All entail simplification of the original system. Whoa, yeah, no, this looks really different. Wait, this looks so clean. Versus this and this. Wait, it's so cool to see the diversity of this. Anyone in chat who writes journals or diaries, please write in 2 languages for the benefit of researchers in the year 12,026. Y'all, we gotta start writing in, like, multiple languages. Wait, who knows? Like, if you start writing a sentence in, like, 18 languages, maybe one day it will become the Rosetta Stone of their time. I mean, that's exactly how that happened with cuneiform and hieroglyphs. Perhaps too, Mycenaean Linear B, written on clay and syllabic signs, also drew inspiration from Mesopotamian cuneiform tradition. As the 1st millennium proceeded, it is clear that Aramaic, a sister language to Semitic Babylonian, gradually came to predominate as a local spoken language of ancient Iraq. We can document its presence in sporadic Aramaic loanwords in cuneiform, Aramaic subscripts in ink on traditional clay documents, and a single school text in which the Aramaic alphabet, in its modern abecedary alphabetic order, was expressed by cuneiform syllables as an innovative scribal exercise. Wait, it's crazy to me that we know so much of this language because of ancient school texts, like ancient school worksheets that were preserved over time. The whole process was accelerated by the military takeover of Babylon by Cyrus in 539 BC, for the Persians imposed Aramaic as the functional language of state administration throughout their rapidly developing empire. Despite these new linguistic and literary forces, cuneiform defiantly held its own in the face of the new possibilities raised by an alphabet. Its resistance bolstered by the huge traditional lore preserved in the libraries of clay, coupled with the ununderstandable reluctance to change. On another level, it must be stressed that our modern view that writing must be within reach of everyone never prevailed in the ancient Near Eastern world. No one ever proclaimed that this should be the case, and it is likely that, if anything, the establishment would have seen no social advantage in that idea. Knowledge, after all, was power, and there was a great deal of venerable knowledge available in cuneiform texts. So this is like how we mentioned before, like how back in the day, like it was more prevalent, you know, for only scribes or people of great power to be able to write, which is also crazy to think about now that, you know, writing has become so universal. Has become so universal. Baby's first cuneiform. Yes. The last wedge. No, we can follow writing on clay all the way down to the 1st century AD. Yeah, no, cuneiform like really lasted a long time. Like it lasted like millennia, which is crazy to me because like there were historians in Mesopotamia studying ancient Mesopotamia. Like that is how long of a time period we're talking about. It is certainly significant that the academies in which the... Oh, wait. Let's take a look at these figures. Oh, wait. Let's see. The academies of astrology and astronomy endured should prove to be the last bastion of the old system of writing. Astrology. Astrology. Hello, Kane. It was resources of this kind that brought Greek scholars to Babylon, lured by the reputation of the Chaldean scholars as observers of the heavens. Some presumably even learned a little cuneiform, using tablets such as the one in figure 41. Here, the men of Athens met calculations vested exclusively in the timeless Mesopotamian system of sexagesimal counting. Their liberal borrowing imposed the measuring in 60s that has prevailed ever since. Oh my god, so the reason why we have 60 seconds, 60 minutes, and the degrees of a circle is due to the Mesopotamian system, which was base 60. I did not know that. And so there was this interchange with the Greeks, which came just in time. The day came when the last old cuneiformist breathed his last, and the noble gift of some 3,500 years of wedge writing from mankind came to an end. Like literally few millennia. That is so cool. This is also quite poetic in a way. That eventually there must have been the last cuneiformist to mark the end of such a long era. Babylonian signs in a Greek crib. The Greek spellings by ear are very revealing about what the Sumerian and Akkadian sounded like. I mean, yeah, this looks very different from cuneiform, or typical cuneiform. Oh wait, sorry, this is not that. That's figure 40. The latest dated tablet in the British Museum, written in AD 62 by an astronomer. So this is like the last tablet. His almanac gives month-by-month positions of the planets in the zodiac signs and the dates of astronomical phenomena. But even this looks very different from the cuneiform that we saw at the start of this book. It must have been sad being the last scribe, yeah. How many gallons in an hour is an hour? Unit systems. Yeah, but it also fascinates me, like, I always talk about this, about how really, like, astrology and astronomy grew hand by hand. And that astronomy was really the first science. I mean, it was natural, like, people would look up on the look up to the skies and be like, what is that? And so I guess it's also kind of poetic in a way that the last cuneiform tablet was also astrology, or astronomy in a way. Whoa, yeah, no, this was really the beginning of more written language, not even wedges anymore. Wow. This is kind of poetic. Huh. Alright, let me quickly see. I feel like this is a pretty good wrapping up point. But I want to see what we have left. Oh, this is really interesting too. Yeah, I think we can finish this out. Yeah, so this next chapter is about like how cuneiform worked. And then the next chapter will be about like learning cuneiform, which is pretty fascinating, and like the base 60 system, which I'm honestly really curious to learn about. I guess we'll be going for a bit of a longer stream today. Not sure why YouTube brought me here, but I don't hate it. Well, hello, Muidak. Thank you so much for joining. And for those of you who haven't already, please do follow on Twitch because we are 10 away from a 400 follower goal, which would be pretty exciting to hit. And stay hydrated. Alright, so how did it work? Cuneiform was real writing. It could express anything the scribes wanted to say. Over its history, each character could take any one of dozens of shapes and could have many different uses. But in reality, the variety that existed in any situation was limited. What makes cuneiform difficult to read today? Whoa! Oh, thank you! Oh, I thought you were already following. Well, thank you, Calcium, for following. But in reality, the variety that existed in whoa! Thank you, Moldak, for following. I'm getting scared. The Among Us sound effect is kind of scary. Is the extinction of languages written in it, the irretrievable loss of the context behind the documents, and the alien nature of the technology, customs, and beliefs of the ancient authors. Worst of all, many of our sources are worn or broken. Cuneiform signs are made of a combination of wedges produced by impressing a reed stylus into the surface of a fresh tablet of clay. Reeds and clay, had always been freely available in the rivers alongside which Mesopotamian cities grew. Scribes read by holding the tablet in such a way that sunlight cast shadows into the wedges. Interesting. Oh, the stylus, or Quanu reed, was literally cut from a length of reed and is regularly revealed by the impressions in the clay and tablets across Mesopotamian history. That's crazy to me that they were able to like extrapolate that just from like the shapes of the wedges. There are grooves in the left edge of each wedge, while the right is smooth. The top edge has several small circular marks. The marks are made by the fibrous structure of the reed. The smooth edge is its outer skin. Oh. Oh, it's because it's like smooth on the outside. I wonder if they had like wedge makers, like stylus makers, and like some of them were like better than others. You know how like, you know, the really good Japanese chalk and stuff like that? It's literally like that. I wonder if they had something similar. Oh, hello, Calcium. Thank you so much for joining. Unfollow, then follow. Done. Thank you. Quanu is actually where we get the word cane. Oh, is it actually pronounced more like Kanu then? Hello, everyone. You're all awesome in cuneiformizing. Well, thank you so much, Tong, for joining. The grooves and circular marks made by the reed stylus are visible in these wedges. Well, this PDF is really trying its best. Tablet clay is not as fine as that used by modern potters. It is essentially river mud brought down by the spring floods of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. The Euphrates River. For those of you who don't know this song, this is so random, but there is a famous song taught in like history classes that's like, by the Euphrates River, by the Euphrates River. Scribes always knew where to find the right quality of clay for their needs. Ephemeral documents could be written on rougher clay, while library tablets could be written on finer clay, sometimes so smoothly finished as to look like porcelain. Most tablets were left to dry in the air, although not in the full sun. In special cases, some were baked to ensure their survival. It is evident that this process was fully understood. Tablets were very carefully made. It was a skill that needed practice. Figure 44 shows a tablet made by rolling out thin sheets of clay. First, the sheet was folded over itself into a small rectangular shape. This fold was visible from left to right across the bottom of the photo and the end flap at the left end. Then the rectangle was placed on another sheet of clay at 90 degrees. Oh, wow. A list of chairs being accounted for in a large institution. Wow. Whoa. Stylus impressed into clay, making the wedge-shaped impressions that give cuneiform its modern name. Occasionally, the clay displaced in making one wedge distorts the depression. The photo and the diagram below reveal how scribes were trained to write the wedges in each sign in a particular order, as is the case with pen strokes in Chinese writing. Yeah, that is typically the case. Oh, and you can sort of deduce that from looking at the document. Oh, so the word cane, Akkadian quanu to Greek cana to Latin cana. Okay, interesting. I figured out how they carved the tablets. I mean, this is crazy to me. Like, the attention to detail. You can really do a deep dive on basically any topic. When it came to the oh, wait. There were conventions for sizes and shapes of tablets, depending on the size of text and when and where it was being written. There were also different conventions for how to set the text out on the tablet surface. The combination of these features is usually enough to allow a specialist to identify roughly what a text is, and when and where it was written before even reading a single sign of cuneiform. Tablets were designed for human use. Most fit into the palm of a hand and are not very heavy. Ergonomically, they were like mobile phones. I mean, we saw the little ones that they used to teach the students. They were like shaped like cookies. Writing. When it came to the moment of inscription, the most important thing was to judge the point at which the clay would best take a sharp impression, without being too hard or too soft. For very long texts, the clay would need to have been kept moist. There are 3 basic types of wedge made, depending on the orientation at which the stylus is held to the tablet: vertical, horizontal, or oblique. Having mastered those, it is possible to write any of the signs in the repertoire. To make a wedge, the scribe pushed the corner of the stylus end into the surface of the clay at a low angle. The greater the pressure, the deeper and bigger the wedge. When a longer wedge was desired, the shaft of the stylus could be pivoted down to make greater contact with the surface. The length of the wedge is determined by how much of the shaft meets the clay. Interesting. What is made is the characteristic wedge-shaped cuneiform impression. See, this would be really useful if we could, like, you know, maybe I'll do a hand cam stream where I get some clay and we can write cuneiform. The stylus was then lifted out of the clay again, ready to make the next wedge. The whole writing process is one of pressing. There was no dragging the stylus across the clay as we do with the pen on paper. Tablets were inscribed carefully. Roughly made or written tablets were suitable for scribbled notes, but not for official or professional documentation or even personal letters. I mean, that's very similar to us today, right? Scribes made mistakes just as we do today. Some went unnoticed. They can reveal the pronunciation of a word. Wow, that is actually really cool. Or show how the scribe went about writing his tablet. So those mistakes actually can give us insights too. Other mistakes were left uncorrected. Erasing mistakes on clay was actually quite difficult because the wedges were impressed so deeply. Removing them meant disturbing so much clay that the scribe risked erasing a lot of other text too. Erasures were obvious from the disturbance of the clay, and from the deep traces of wedges that remain under the newly inscribed sign. The best policy was to avoid the mistake in the first place. It's almost like typewriting. Nerd alert! Well, thank you so much, Net, for stopping by. I hope you're doing well. Actually, let me give you a shout out. I was just talking about how we're going to have auditions for the next generation of Vtuber, and Nep is a member of Vtuber, which is this group that I'm part of science Vtubers. Nep does horticulture content and is super, super cool. Cuneiform the viewer names. I don't think future generations would even be able to envision the idea of like a cuneiform Vtuber. Applications open all month. Yes, exactly. In the king's name, cuneiform was not an alphabet, but a system that wrote syllables and words. Cuneiform signs characteristically cannot express isolated consonants without an attached vowel. It used between 600 and 1,000 different characters, although about 100 or so were quite enough for most purposes. While cuneiform was wonderfully suited to writing on clay, it was also carved into stone or engraved into metal. Wait, what? I need to look this up. What? Oh my god, this is crazy. A 35-centimeter intact silver vase has its Sumerian inscription on the top of his neck. This must have taken forever. Wow. A gold beard What? This is so sick. Imagine wearing this. This is so cool. To the god Shara in the Musée du Louvre. I can't believe I didn't see this when I visited the Louvre. Digging out the fancy stationery clay to write some Riz to Z. Nuh-uh, I just want a gold beard. I just want a gold beard. That's crazy. It's so bougie, yeah. I would wear this, yeah. Wait, speaking of Riz, that actually reminds me, this is a bit of a tangent, but if you made it this far, you deserve a little bit of fun story time. So you know how I was traveling this weekend, right? Basically, I mentioned this in Zmail, but I was actually recruited for a very famous dating show. It was so random. Like, I gave my talk, and like a lot of like people came up to me, you know, to talk about more like professional or academic things, right? Like, because the topic was of that nature. And then another person comes up and is like, "Oh, I'm a recruiter for like this dating show." And I was like, bro, this cannot be happening right now. And so I politely declined because, I mean, like, frankly, there's a lot of reasons why I wouldn't want to be on a show like that. The primary of which being that I don't know if I can handle that kind of scrutiny, and also I have zero Riz. But I did talk with the recruiter person for a little bit. And it turns out that he also has connections to other shows that are like kind of like more academic in a sense, like puzzle type game shows. And I was like, low-key, I'd be down for that. But yeah, that was a funny story from my travels this weekend. I think genuinely, like, most of my travels are pretty tame. Like, that was honestly the craziest thing that has happened. But I also thought it was very funny. Z in a dating show, yeah, no. Imagine you, like, you know, turn on your TV and you're imagining, like, a pretty chill dating show and then you just, like, hear my voice. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. Since you had the Riz stream last Valentine's Day, why not try going on a dating show? Well, I have to be so honest. I have no Riz. On the other hand, Faye, who is an IRL medical doctor who we did the last Valentine's Day stream with, does. Just imagine the Vtuber model on the screen instead. No! No, that would have been crazy. Anyways, no, the recruiter person was actually quite nice. And it didn't... Okay, he wasn't, like, really, like, high up in the chain of recruitment, it seemed. It seemed like he was just, like, trying to, like, kind of, like, grow, like, a network of people who may be interested in, you know, being part of these TV shows. Z is married with, like, a galaxy of kids. No, I am not. VTuber dating show? I've seen some of those. I just don't know how I feel about that. Frankly, I think, like, I think there's some people who do content that's more not say-so in a way. And there's people who are more focused. Their content is primarily for, like, you know, primarily in that genre. So I've actually seen ads for these dating shows. And that being said, I've also been invited to, like, one or two of them. But I just feel like for me, that's not my primary reason for VTubing. That being said, I mean, if that's a way to get science out there, but I feel like most people who are watching that are also not that interested in science per se. I would love to do a science game show, though. Actually, I was just talking with somebody about doing something like that. Like a science game show where a bunch of science VTubers join. But that being said, I have seen some, like, streamer dating shows in the past. I just think they're very interesting, and I don't know... Like, I feel like the people who do that kind of content have already done that kind of content in the past. You gotta riz them with cool facts. Yeah, maybe that's what I do. Z is the nerd bachelor. You mean the nerd bachelorette? Well, yeah. Anyway, sorry. That was such a random tangent, but I felt like I wanted to share that story. I've been meeting up with a few people after my travels, and everybody's like, "How are your travels?" And I'm like, honestly, the craziest thing that happened to me was that I was almost recruited for this famous dating show. So, like, if Bill Nye did a game show, I would totally join that. I would totally join that. I would do anything to meet Bill Nye. Anywho, sorry, that was such a big tangent, but that was a cool metal beard. I guess I didn't know that cuneiform could be engraved into metal as well. These metals were scarce in Mesopotamia, which made them expensive and prestigious. Cuneiform written on hard materials mimicked its appearance on clay, although the handwriting was deliberately old-fashioned. Here we see Ashur-nasir-pal's name written with 5 signs. Whoa! Whoa! Wait, this is so well preserved. This is so sick. Like, they just, like, wrote on top of it. Whoa! Wait, they even give, like, a zoom-in thing because, like, my cursed PDF can't see the detail. Wait, that is so cool. This must have taken so long to make. Imagine being, like, assigned to write this. Like, you can't make a mistake here. Like, if you make a mistake here, then you'd have to delete the whole thing. That is so cool. In Akkadian, his name is Ashur-nasir-af, which means the god Ashur is protector of the air. The air in question being Ashur-nasir-pal himself. The first sign is the number 1. Here it is used as a determinant, a special type of silent character, telling the reader that what comes next is the name of a... Oh my god, is the name of a person. That god's name is Ashur, the chief god of Assyria, written syllabically with 2 sides, S and Sur. Next comes Pop, which represents a whole word using a Sumerian logogram. The reader needs both to supply the corresponding Akkadian word and work out from the context the appropriate form. Like when we encounter dollar in an English set. Whoa. I am unable to speak. In an English text. Here the word is nasaru, to protect, and the required form nasir, protector. We have just explored the first principle of cuneiform. A cuneiform sign can be potentially used. First, to clarify what kind of thing a word represents, a determinative, to convey a sound as a syllable, or to write a whole word as a logogram. Now let's look at the second principle. Cuneiform signs can have more than one reading. That is, each may represent any of a choice of sounds or words. The last character in Ashur-nasir-pal's name can be used either as a simple syllable or as a whole word. A in Sumerian means water. In the astrologer. In an Akkadian text, we would read A as their word for water, or mu. When writing names, however, the same sign can be used to express instead the Akkadian word of aplu, or air, literally Japanese. Yeah, I guess it's a syllable, or like to write a whole word. Yeah. Finally, the third principle of cuneiform. One sound can be written with different signs. For example, the sound do can be written with the following signs, among others, which we today differentiate with index numbers. Oh. Yeah, I've seen some of these symbols. I think one of them might be in the stream description. Water the astrologer. Yeah, I guess technically A the astrologer is water the astrologer in cuneiform. The sign do was... Oh! Oh my god! Oh my god, thank you so much, Actual Education, for the raid! Welcome everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining. I will give you a shout out. Well, I'll quickly introduce myself. Oh my god. Oh, I didn't mean to raid. Oops. I meant, I was going to raid you back. That's so funny. Shout out. There we go. DU, is this a derivative? No, it is not. It is, we are actually dissecting Sumerian words. Well, welcome raiders. Speeding at Sea, it's me, Z. Hello, I am an IRL astrophysics researcher, but I typically do physics VTubing content. Today is a little bit different. We are looking at cuneiform. Actually, this is part 2 in a series of streams that I've done on cuneiform. We are currently reading this book called Cuneiform by Irving, Finkel, and Jonathan Taylor, who are both amazing experts. And we are right now trying to understand how Akkadian and Sumerian was interpreted. And if you haven't already, I primarily stream on YouTube, and I just recently started dual streaming, so which allows raids like these to happen. So thank you so much, Actual Education. And if you'd like to give me a follow, I'd really appreciate it. We are super close to our 400 follower goal. So if we could hit that by end of stream, that would be absolutely amazing. So yeah, thank you so much, raiders. What were you streaming, Actual Education? Yeah, let me know what you were streaming. We learned a lot today. I mean, we learned about the history of cuneiform. We learned about how we were able to translate between cuneiform because there was cuneiform side by side with like hieroglyphs. Thank you so much, Gladiator Leos, for following. And then we were also talking about how cuneiform eventually phased out of existence by being integrated with like ancient Greek. And the reason why we have like 60 seconds and 60 minutes today is because the Mesopotamian system was base 60, which was then integrated into the Greek culture. And we also learned about different words that have translated over time. Anyways, we've been kind of just doing a really fun deep dive. I have no expertise in cuneiform or history or linguistics. I just recently have been going down like a cuneiform rabbit hole and thought it would be really cool to stream this. And it seems like you guys are also having a lot of fun. Just a lot of math and physics homework. Whoa, that's really interesting. I actually didn't know that you help out with homework, or I think maybe last time that was what you were streaming. I recall you rated me before. Helping students out. Well, that's absolutely amazing. If you haven't already, definitely go check out Actual Education. And if you're on the YouTube side, go to the Twitch and it should be in the chat. It's really great that you're helping students out with homework. I feel like I haven't really heard of that as like a stream concept before. That's really exciting. Yeah, typically I haven't done a stream like that before, actually. That's really great. Hello, Vampiricon. Yeah, there's a whole group of us. Well, that's super exciting. I think it's great that you're helping out students like that. I think especially in the age of AI and like ChatGPT, you know, getting help directly from a person, even if it's through a stream, and being able to explain a concept and like be able to like ask questions freely is really great. I'm really in support of that. Other math and science streamers. Oh my god, wait, that's amazing. Yeah, I feel like there definitely needs to be more content like that. I love math. Well, Aleph Mu does math, is going to debut soon, so you might also want to check him out too. Maybe Aleph, you might be interested in also joining this cohort of homework help streamers. That's really great. Well, without much further ado, let's keep reading about do, or du. Unfortunately, I don't think it has anything to do with derivatives. The sign du was used for the Sumerian verb to go, but do is to build with a little thing on the top. Do 6 is to ruin mound. Do 7 to be suitable. Do 8 to open. In Sumerian, there are many groups of homophonous words. While sometimes one sign can be found as a variant for another, spelling habits generally kept each member of these groups of signs distinct from the others. This is advantageous. Ironically, syllabically written Sumerian is far harder for us to understand than text written in a mix of words and syllables. We don't always know how logographically written words would have been pronounced. It is sometimes thought that Sumerian may have been a tonal language like Chinese, making homophonous words more distinct for them than they appear for us, and to ancient speakers of non-tonal Akkadian. Yeah, I guess one of the things we were talking about earlier was like how they figured out how it sounded, and there were also like literal dictionaries where they would have like Sumerian, Akkadian, and like the pronunciation, so we were able to figure out how it would sound. Our knowledge of Sumerian is still influenced by reading it with the help of Akkadian resources such as ancient sign lists, which use do to show the pronunciation of all the other do signs. These defining features of cuneiform, where one sign can be read in different ways and different signs can have the same meaning, are often cited as reasons why cuneiform is impossibly difficult to learn. In reality, it is rarely that troublesome. We overcome similar problems without a second thought. For example, in English writing, th expresses both a sound in the and in that in thief, as well as the two sounds in shorthand. Oh, yeah, the second situation. Oh, it's like English using ph, gh, and f for the sound f, as in fishing, enough, and fish. And context usually makes the right reading clear in less familiar instances. I love how like Irving Finkel is like drawing parallels to English, because I mean, that is one of the ways to make this more accessible. Every Z-rater and everyone Z-rated has been entire watching schedule lately. No regrets. Well, thank you. Well, thank you, Actual Education, for the raid. And also, yes, no, this is why I started dual streaming on Twitch, so that we can raid more exciting science VTubers, or science streamers in general. Hardback volumes. Clay tablets survive remarkably well in Iraq. As unfired clay, they can be recycled by soaking in water. Oh, interesting. In practice, many were just thrown away. Most of the hundreds of thousands of tablets we have were never intended to last more than a few years. They were found as ancient rubbish of one form or another. By contrast, organic materials such as wood and ivory rarely survive at all. Yet we know that scribes did sometimes use them instead of clay tablets. Wait, that is so interesting. They used wood for cuneiform and ivory? From around 2100 BC, scribes used some kind of writing boards. The best surviving specimens of writing boards, still containing a few inscribed patches, were found at the 8th century BC Assyrian city of Nimrud. They owe their survival to the fact that they were thrown down a well when the city was destroyed in 612 BC. The boards were made of small sheets of wood with the middle carved out so that a rim remained around the edges. Wax would be poured into the depression. If need be, several such sheets would be bound together into a kind of hardback book. The scribe could write on the wax in the same way as clay. Writing boards would have been a convenient tool to carry around when around in the office, a bit like writing on a clipboard. Wait, that is so cool to me that they had like different types of like architectures for writing. The Assyrian scribes shown in the palace reliefs often carry boards instead of tablets. Other boards from Nimrud were much larger, around 30 by 15 centimeters. Wow, it must have been sumptuous. Scientific testing revealed that they were made of walnut. Other boards were used not just as scratch pads, but also copying scholarly texts. This is so cool. Library records on clay tablets. Oop, whoa. From 7th century Nineveh tell us that many of the books being brought into King Ashurbanipal's famous library were written on boards, perhaps because donors did not want to part with their original tablets. This is so cool. What is this? Ivory writing boards. These were a set of 16, once bound together. I mean, this literally looks like a book. They had an astrological textbook called Enuma Anu. This set belonged to King Sargon of Assyria and must have originally been part of his palace collection. Wow, they had like textbooks back then, astrology textbooks. Wow. Now you see, now you don't. Throughout history, there must have been close ties between a spoken language, the script in which that language is written, and the technology used to write it. In the case of the Sumerian and Akkadian languages, cuneiform was the script used, and clay and stylus the standard technology. Cuneiform scribes operated in a world that they knew the use of ink. They used it themselves for various purposes for many centuries. But only rarely did they write cuneiform in ink, as far as we know. Ink is another material that survives poorly in Mesopotamia. Scribes did write cuneiform in ink in part of palace decoration. More intriguingly, 2 tablets from Nineveh show inked cuneiform on clay tablets. The ink was used to write colophons, presumably because the tablet in each case had become too dry. This is so interesting because, I mean, prior to this book, I was under the impression that like cuneiform was only in clay, but we saw it in metal, we saw it in ivory, and now we saw it in ink. The proficiency shown there suggests that they were already familiar with writing in ink. From the final days of cuneiform, the last few centuries in the 1st century AD, there is also evidence to suggest a wider use of ink. Clay tablets preserve mentions of parchments containing traditional Mesopotamian texts which must have been written in ink. It is highly likely that these texts were written in the traditional languages and in cuneiform, but the documents themselves do not survive. I wonder if some of these documents were like held in the Library of Alexandria. We had a conversation about this earlier in stream about the fire in the Library of Alexandria. Imagine writing in ink. More importantly, imagine writing cuneiform in ink. Like, I feel like that's kind of, it's very pictographic. Oh, wait, this is a chapter I'm so excited for. This kind of goes into the day 60 system. So chapter 8, counting days. And I think this is actually the last chapter or one of the last chapters. The fire in Alexandria probably would have preserved them better. It would have preserved the clay tablets better, but most of those were scrolls, which were paper. or parchment. Once upon a time, the Mesopotamian year usually started in spring. What? So we'd be around the start of the year. As it traditionally has in many parts of the world, I did not know that. The month started after the first sighting of the new moon and lasts for 29 or 30 days. The days started at sunset and moved through watches until the next sunset. So I guess we are almost approaching the new year, so Happy New Year. Maybe this is an occasion for, I remember we were talking at the start of the stream about, you know, getting a physical copy of this book, and I was saying that, like, the next occasion to get a gift is so far out. But maybe celebrating the new year would be worth it. Happy New Year! The blood moon. Yeah, no. Oh my god, yeah, no, the lunar eclipse was last night. I hope some of you guys got to see it, especially those in the US. If I recall correctly, there won't be another one that's like that visible until like 2028. I was originally planning to see it, but I did like set an alarm, but I actually slept through it. I guess I've been really exhausted from traveling. I didn't realize like how tired I was until I like woke up this morning, and I was like, oh my god, like I woke up late. And I am the type to like never sleep through an alarm. I think it's only happened like, I remember once before, I also set an alarm for a collab, and I remember I pulled up late to the collab, like the Vtuber collab, because I had like slept through my alarm, and that was like one of the very rare instances in which that happened. So I hope you enjoyed it. I just missed it. Oh no. Assyrian New Year's on the 1st, so I guess we are 3 days into the new year. We know less about how time itself was measured during the day and night, but as early as the 2nd millennium, Mesopotamians were using sundials and water clocks. The need to master time is evident in the earliest texts. A sign was created to indicate day. Its shape was based on the image of a sun rising in the east. By adding numbers alongside this sign, scribes could count multiple days. Placing numbers inside the day sign indicated each month. The power of the system increased further, placing numbers throughout the day sign indicated year. The remarkable sophistication of this bureaucracy is illustrated by figure 52, which documents a period of 8 years. The sign for day was used until the very end of Cuneiform. Whoa. This tablet, each line down the left side is a sign for day plus a number. The left side. Oh, so it's like day 1, day 2, day 3. Oh, intriguing. Z doesn't have a sky cam to look for meteor showers. Well, sometimes I, you know, go outside to like look for meteor showers. It's just the weather. First of April? Wait, Assyrian New Year's on the 1st of April? There's no way. That's typically when the astrologer makes a return. Maybe we'll have a special occasion to mark the 1st of April as also the Assyrian New Year. As a picture of the sun, it remained in use as a sign for the sun god too. Month also remained. It took the form of day with the number 30 written inside, representing a 30-day lunar month. Month was not used to write the moon god's name, but the number 30 sometimes was. The Mesopotamian year had 12 months in a year. Month names refer to typical activities for that season, such as Se Kin Kund, harvesting the grain. There was a slight problem though. The time it takes for the Earth to revolve around the sun, a solar year, is around 11 days longer than a lunar year, or 12 lunar months. Our Gregorian calendar suffers a similar problem. We add an extra day to February every 4 years. Yes. In Babylonia, the solution was similar. Every so often, an extra month was added. These were known as din, or extra months. Originally, they were included as and when the need was felt. So basically, they went on vibes. But later, a regular pattern was devised. Different cities used different calendars. What? That's so freaky. But I guess maybe back then, things weren't as connected as they are today. You know, maybe somebody would live in a city their whole life. Some month names were shared between the cities, although not necessarily used in the same order. Other names were unique to a city. Counting years was a little bit more complicated. Nobody knew that they were BC. That is true. Wait, this is so funny. I feel like Irving Finkel was like making a joke here. Vibes-based calendar. Yeah, exactly. One system gave names to each year. The king and his counselors would discuss the significant events of the past year and choose one to be commemorated. For example, Amorswin's 4th year was known as year celebrating Emagalana, had been chosen as end priestess of the god Nana by means of the almonds. When no events surpassed the significance of the one immortalized last time around, the next year will be the year after the previous one. Rim Sin of Larsa was so proud of his decisive victory over the rival kingdom of Isin that he named his next 30 years after it. That is so funny. Imagine being like, ah yes, we are in year 24 of the decisive victory over the rival kingdom of Isin. Like, imagine like you're like I mean, I guess people back then didn't even live that long. Like, most of your lifetime being described, the year being described about this one victory because the king was like, yeah, I'm gonna name the year like that. Like, it's almost like me being like, ah yes, like, I will name this year, well, what's the major event that occurred in the last Assyrian calendar year? I mean, we were just talking about how it's been almost a year since I joined Vtuber, right? Like, it's almost like me being like, all right, like, this upcoming year will be described as Z's entrance into Vtuber year. The next 30 years are the years of the LA Dodgers. Yeah, LA Dodgers year 1, LA Dodgers year 2. Seems like a pretty big deal, yeah. But imagine like being able to choose the name of the year. When years have commemorative names instead of numbers, how does anyone, how does anyone know what to call the next year? Simple, scribes were sent tablets telling them the next name. And to help them remember the order of years necessary for loans and house purchases and any other medium to long-term commitments, they kept lists of which year followed which. That must, oh, whoa. I'm frozen! Oh no! Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh, hello, Raiders! Hi, my model is temporarily being broken. Hello! Okay, hi, I'm back. Hi, oh my god, Neko raid. Well, speeding and seeds, me Z. Oh my god, thank you so much, Neko the Space Mage. I don't recognize your channel. Are you also a space VTuber? That's so cool. Wait, let me check out your channel real quick. Neko this, I love that username. What were you streaming? Wait, I'm subscribed to you. Oh my god. Well, let me give you a shout out on YouTube. Oh wait, you were Neko. Oh my god, wait, yes, I know you. Oh my god, yeah, of course. Well, Neko was part of the LA Wildfire release stream. When did you change your name? Wait, when did you change your name? And what made you decide on the name change? We were playing Danganronpa. Oh my god, I've always wanted to play that game. And I think it's actually on Mac too. But I just haven't had time. I really want to play. Which one were you playing? Well, Neko, it's so great seeing you again. Thank you so much for swinging by. Like, oh my god. It's been so long since the LA Wildfire Relief stream. So basically about like a year and a half ago now, I feel like now, I did a group of VTubers got together to raise money and raise awareness for the LA wildfires. And we donated that money to direct relief, and we actually were able to raise a few $1,000s, which was incredible given that we were made of a lot of small channels. So yeah, and Neko was part of that. So thank you so much. Earlier this year with my 3.0 debut. Oh my god, I'll have to check that out. Wait, let me save that to my watch later. 3.0 debut. Oh my god, new year, new Neko. Oh, it's like 2 months ago. Wow, you did an 8-hour long stream? And your model is so gorgeous too. Oh my god, wait, I was like going through the timestamp and I like suddenly stopped on like this. Oh my god, let me see if I can like let me see if I can pull this up. I just suddenly got like Wait, let me try to pull this up. It's like you with a real... Ah! Oh, shoot. I don't know if I'll be able to pull it up. But anyways, I just stumbled upon, like, this clip of you with a really, really long neck. That is so, so funny. Well, I hope you enjoyed the Danganronpa stream. I think that's how you pronounce it, right? Yeah, I'm loving the name change. It's great. I mean, I'm obviously biased to anything that's related with space. Is it Neko? Or is it more like Nico? Is it Neko? Yeah, okay, okay. Well, welcome everybody. In the pinned comment, I also have my Twitch link. So we are trying to hit 400 followers. We are super, super close to that goal. So if you could hit that follow button, that would be greatly appreciated. My goal was to hopefully hit it by the end of the stream, at which we will do a mini celebration, which will just be me being like, yay, yippee. But yeah, for those of you who just came in, hi, I am Z. I am an IRL astrophysics researcher who also does physics content and right now cuneiform content. So we are going through this book where we're learning about how the Mesopotamian year structure was set. Oh, you're already here too. Well, okay, let me shout you out on Twitch as well. Yes. So we're reading this. We just found out that the years in Mesopotamia were described by basically the major event that occurred in the year prior. And so scribes also had documents to remember the order of the years. These are helpful for modern scholars. Each kingdom chose their own names, meaning that any given year could be called several things from one city to the next. Starting from around 1595 BC, with the arrival of the Kassite dynasty in Babylonia, scribes would simply count from the accession of each new ruler. The Assyrians preferred a system where high officials drew lots to decide who would give his name to the new year. For example, Bunaya, the palace herald, gave his name to 850 BC. In the last years of cuneiform, a more familiar system appeared. The Seleucid era counted each year from a start date of 311 BC. The alignment of ancient years to modern ones is partly based on astronomy. A solar eclipse recorded in 763 BC gives us secure dates from then on, and historical records get us back to around 1400 BC with little room for disagreement. I just love the connection with astronomy and astrology that's been taking place throughout this book. I know, you know, I always joke about the astrologer, you know, being a, you know, is like my evil alter ego, but they really went hand in hand. And events like solar eclipses, like, they now give us context to understand, like, the year order back in Mesopotamian history, which is really interesting. Mesopotamia, why are we talking about two rivers? Well, I decided to do this stream because I've been recently going through a cuneiform rabbit hole. Before that, we have floating sections of time where we often know the order of years, but we don't know for sure exactly when they happened. Some of them may have overlapped. History is still being written. Oh, yes. So this is how they kept track of all the different years, because they were named after different things. This is the second year of Z eating the spicy ramen. Yeah, no, have I ever eaten spicy ramen on stream? I don't think so. I don't think so. What if I do decide to eat spicy ramen though, I will name a year after it. Counting in 60s. Cuneiform was invented as a bookkeeping tool. Not for literature, glorification of kings or gods, or diaries or shopping lists. The original sign for scribe appears to be a picture of an abacus-like counting board, on which clay tokens representing commodities would have moved around. The earlier number signs seem to be based on such tokens, which were in use already during the prehistoric period. There were many different counting systems depending on what was being counted: lengths, areas, capacities, and quantities of discrete commodities. These continued in use, although the exact size of capacity might change from time to time. Some of these systems were based on the number 60, and even those that weren't gradually took on elements of the 60 system. Yes, so Mesopotamia was using a base 60 system. Okay, this is interesting. Don't eat spicy ramen. People might throw money at you. What? What does that mean? I cannot do spice. So if I were to eat spicy ramen, I would actually pass out. Although that might be entertaining for you guys. Maybe if we hit like a crazy milestone, I will eat ramen. Maybe if we hit like 8,000 Orbeez on YouTube, I will eat spicy ramen. Let me write this down. I actually don't like ramen that much. Well, no, I don't like the instant noodle ramen. Mayo is the spiciest thing for Z. Wait, okay, so I have a story about this. So I went to In-N-Out once, and I had their like animal fries, right, with the animal sauce, and I thought that was kind of spicy, and I also thought it was disgusting. So mayo is despicable, and also, yeah, the animal sauce was a little insane. Let's read. Around 2100 BC, a new counting system was invented that had profound implications for both Mesopotamians and for us today. It was fully abstract and meant that anything could be calculated in 60s, quickly and easily with this one system. The scribes who used it worked with an administrative fiction of each year having 360 days. It is ultimately this system that explains why we have 60 minutes in an hour and 360 degrees in a circle. These scribes, however, used it only for calculations, converting figures from the traditional systems, doing some maths, and then converting the answer back into the appropriate traditional signs. Individual records were summarized into annual registers. In figure 55, the scribe gives the name and size of individual fields within one district of the city of Umma, the name of the person managing each, and the yields for the third year of Ibisin's reign, 2026 BC. Wow, that's like almost like symmetric to what year we are in now, 2026 AD. Over 2,000 hectares are accounted for here, producing 2 million liters of cereals. Bro, this was like the first like Excel sheet. Tablets like this one are among the largest known, weighing in at around 8 kilograms each. At this period, managers were set targets each year based on the amounts of productivity per man per day. Any shortfall or surplus was carried forward into the following year in a meticulous, balanced accounting system. No, this is literally Google Sheets and Excel, like back in the Cuneiform era. Scribes needed to manipulate small numbers as well as large. At school, they practiced fractions. Cuneiform maths was based on two symbols, 1 and 10. But this was not just 1, but also 60 or any power of 60, in the same way that +1 indicates 1 unit, 110 or 100, and so forth. Cuneiform had no 0 and no point. Numbers in this system were relative. And so this one, this like dolphin looking one and this nail looking one is most simply 10 plus 1, but could equally be 39,600 or 0.183 or 70. That is so crazy to me. This list of fractions tells you to start with 60. Wait, let's see. Here's a scribe from 3000 BC recording cereals, indicated by the stalk with ears. They don't even have Lucky Charms. They didn't have Lucky Charms or honey bunches with oats. They had these cereals back then. Barley is measured using plain symbols. Emmer wheat using a parallel system where the symbols are marked with parallel strokes. In each case, there are two sizes of each number. Wow. I mean, these look very pictographic compared to the typical, you know, the typical cuneiform that we've seen before. Have a fun rest of your stream. Late here and need rest. Well, thank you so much, Guy. Thank you so much for stopping by. Yeah, I know this stream has been going on a bit longer than typical. All they had was Wheaties. Oh, yeah, all they had was Wheaties, exactly. Whoa! What is this? This must be one of the spreadsheets that they were talking about. Because some copies write a sound clue as we write 60, cuneiform fractions are thus 60 over n, not 1 over n. Then divide that by the numbers in the left column. The idea is to work out pairs of numbers that multiplied together give the number 60. Fractions have intimidated school children since they were first invented. The advantage of the Mesopotamian system is that there are plenty of numbers that you can divide by 60. Yeah, so this is, I talked about this earlier, this is why a base 12 system is actually better, because it's, it has more divisors. Wait, this is crazy to me. An annual register, I mean, this is literally a spreadsheet, but it's not, like, editable. A well-preserved list of fractions from the hand of a good student. Wow, I mean, yeah, no, this looks really neat. Like, whoever was making this was cooking. And the Sumerian king list, a piece of state propaganda, which attributes the earliest rulers to Sumer tens of thousands of years long. Yeah, I mean, a lot of cuneiform was to do bookkeeping like this. Yeah, no, this is so cool. Oh, wait, this is the last chapter. Oh my god, this is the last 2 pages. Orbeez, we made it to the end of the book. Oh my god. Well, okay. Well, let's enjoy the last 2 fingers. But I have 12 fingers. Yeah, exactly. There's a guy whose channel is Eats with History. Wait, let me see this. Eats with History. Sumerian food. Wait, what? That's so cool. I would love to try something like that. How knowledgeable are you about in linguistics? Not knowledgeable whatsoever. I do have some friends who studied linguistics, but I myself do not. I only do astrophysics. I just love going down like random Wikipedia rabbit holes. This actually came to me because I'm reading this book called The Information by James Gleick. It's an okay book. I have some opinions about it. I did not like it as much as his more famous book, Chaos. But there was a chapter in here that was like briefly discussing cuneiform, and then I realized that on Wikipedia you can actually see the list of cuneiform characters and you can copy and paste them. And then I like went through this whole rabbit hole, and that's how I encountered this book, Cuneiform by Irving Finkel. It's actually a very short book. I mean, it's only 59 pages in the PDF, and we were able to cover it in 2 streams, while also going on many, many tangents. Tasting with History, yes. Yes, I just saw it, Googled, after I Googled it. Table of Gods is another historical chef. Wait, this is so cool. I would do anything to eat that. I would also do anything to meet Irving Finkel, who is the author of this book, and is very passionate in what he does. In our very modern world, far in time from that of the ancient Sumerians and Babylonians, it might seem a fair question to ask why we should bother with their old and strange-looking writings and struggle to translate them. Can anything really come out of them of use or interest to us today? Cuneiform is the world's oldest writing system. Writing it on clay meant that even the most ephemeral of messages, over more than 1,000 years old, could survive safely in the ground awaiting the archaeologist's spade. Museums and collections around the world look after such documents in abundance, overseeing their condition, storing them safely, indexing and cataloging them. Thanks to the valiant efforts of the early decipherers and all the scholars who came after, we can understand these writings today with remarkable accuracy. We can listen in on the most ancient voices, from kings to schoolboys, from direct records of their daily lives and experiences. We hear of their words and histories, but also their thoughts and ambitions, their inquiries about the world that surrounded them, and their understanding of how it worked. We can walk beside the Oh, thank you, Parka, the pop, for following. And their understanding how we can walk beside their mathematicians and astronomers, as well as their doctors and astrologers. Cuneiform tablets of clay may be unfamiliar at first sight, and they are sometimes hard to read, but what they preserve for us is quite simply wonderful. Ancient history, as we encounter it face to face in documents from Mesopotamia, can be disconcertingly familiar, and there are still lessons to be learned. Wow. No, this is also deeply poetic. I love when I'm reading something and I can tell how passionate the writer is. Like, I feel like Irving Finkel throughout this book just shows so much love and dedication to really expressing the beauty and nuance of cuneiform. I feel like I've been feeling that while I've been reading this book, The Radium Girls by Kate Moore. Like, I feel like she just has so much like passion, enthusiasm, and just like wants to go deep into every topic. Was that spirally looking image the book's cover? Yes. This is actually what the cover looks like. Though, I think if you want to read a book by James Gleick, you should read Chaos. I was a little disappointed by information. Oh, I guess there's a lot of different covers, but the one I read had this as the cover. I mean, I think this is the best cover. It is very famous. It was written decades ago, but it is very well written. Z's just looking for that character in the character map. Honestly, that was what I was doing, but Cuneiform doesn't look like Amogus at all. I think you making the Sumerian beer would be more fun instead of the spicy ramen. Yeah, but I think a cooking stream would be pretty hard. I heard that there's so many unread tablets that there's a lot of stuff to research. I mean, we saw like earlier in the book that a lot of the documents that are remaining are actually like old, like house, like back then you had to show like proof of like ownership of a house. Like back then a lot of documents were like that. So yeah, there's a lot of documents to go through. And also they were showing how like they're still trying to like piece some of the blocks together. Like basically like puzzle pieces. Alright, the last two paragraphs. Try this at home. Writing in cuneiform is surprisingly easy. All you need is your tablet made of modeling clay or plasticine, and your stylus for which you can use any squared-off tool. Perhaps a chopstick, ice cream stick, or the reed from a clarinet. Choose your words and divide them up into syllables, like tablet. Remember, you cannot write a consonant on its own, but there are cuneiform signs when you need a single vowel, such as adam. Adam. Not all the sounds you need are available in cuneiform, so you will need to find a close approximate sound. The ancients faced the same problem when they encountered people who spoke other languages, which also used sounds that were not catered for in cuneiform. I am writing down that we need to do a cuneiform writing stream. I may not be able to get a clay tablet, but I do have a whiteboard that was gifted to me on Throne, and I will do whatever in my capacity to write this. Oh my god, this is great. Oh my god, I could write Z. Like, Z, I guess. Do they have, like, Z? Maybe if I do Z, and then another I after it, it'll be, like, Z. Or, oh, no. Maybe I'll do ZE. Yeah, I'll do this. Whoa, that looks really hard to write. ZE, like that. And then I'll do the extra E at the end, so that it's really spelled like E. Yeah, that'll be like Z. Wait, I could totally spell out Orbeez. Wait, hold up. Wait. And for those of you who don't know, Orbeez is like the fandom name. Let's see. I guess they don't have... They have R. They have Re. I guess they only have O on its own, so I would have to do... Oh wait, they don't have O. Oh no. Oh no. Maybe I'll have to do Urbeez. Urbeez. Wait, so I do the UR symbol here. Ur, and then B, and then maybe I'll do this one, and then another E, and then I don't know if they have a Z. Orbeezu. Urbeezu. Alright, you guys are no longer the Orbeez, you are the Urbeezu. Especially after we've demolished this book. Like, we basically read through the whole thing. I officially declare you guys the Urbeezu. Yeah, the Urbeezu. Yeah, it kind of sounds Japanese in a way. So he's gonna write an actual curse from 600 BC. Hopefully not. Oh, wait. We could try spelling it. Hold up. Wait, I know that there's like a Wikipedia page. Cuneiform characters. Alright, this is the last thing we will do for today. Oh, wait, there's a lot more here. I guess we'll have to cross-reference with this one. So, I'm just on the Wikipedia page, right? So, the Ur that's written here is this one, which is... Oh my god, I feel like it's none of these. Ur... Oh my god, there's so many Urs. Wait, I feel like it's none of these. What? Maybe it's supposed to be this. Oh, I guess Joey wrote it already. That looks pretty right to me. Or Urbeez. Urbeez. Oh, yeah, that works too. So this is Urbeez. Yeah, it's just a look into cuneiform. This is also why I want to get this book, because I feel like it would be such a cool coffee table book to have. I guess we are now the Urbiz. Reject science, become scribe. Or you can become both, because they did astronomy back in Mesopotamia. This is great. Well, thank you, Urbiz, for joining. Let us see who is live. I don't know if anyone is live on YouTube, but we will quickly check. Oh, for a second I thought Mylan was live, and I was like, there's no way. Alright, so we have a few options. Rabbit and Steel, Sensei Live with Wakume Waku and Seafoam Cannery, or AlmantasVT, who is doing... Oh, I guess we should... I feel like I've always wanted to read into Almantas, who is a retired professor, now VTuber. That's actually super cool. I think we should do that. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so, alright, so if you haven't already, go hop onto the Twitch side. Oh, thank you to whoever followed. Sorry, I didn't read your notification. Oh, thank you, Onyx Tail, for joining. I just discovered you, and this one was amazing. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed. I think the Cuneiform stream has been getting a lot of popularity. If you want to see more of this, please do comment in the VOD. I will definitely... I wrote down a bunch of ideas. I wrote down hand cam stream with cuneiform alchemy symbols, hieroglyph stream, because we encountered that amazing document, cuneiform writing stream, and then maybe even a spicy ramen stream. Yes, I like this a lot. Yes, thank you all. Thank you, Urbiz, so much for joining. We are going to raid AlmantasVT, who is a professor VTuber, or retired professor, now VTuber. And if you're on the YouTube side, please join the Twitch. And let me send the raid message. Maybe I'll also include the... Maybe the raid message will also include some of the Mesopotamian, the cuneiform that we've learned. Alright, this is the new raid message. We're gonna do this. Oh. Alright. I think we're all set to go. Well, thank you all so much for joining. This was so much fun. I never thought that this, like, insane rabbit hole would also be so much fun for you guys to check out. So thank you all so much for joining. I will not be streaming until maybe next week because I will be traveling once again. I will literally be packing tomorrow. So thank you all for joining. Have an amazing weekend. Get some good rest. I will also try to sneak a little bit of rest in between my travels as well. So I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Though I'm trying